golf and tennis, one of the changes on course instruction. If you want to find out more information and learn from Mike Faber and Jonathan Melke, find your best golf swing, give them a call today at 402-498-0220. They're located just north of Dodge on 120th Street, Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis.
Creighton coverage on the Zone is presented by Barry Law. At Barry Law, we fight alongside those who choose to fight back. Call Barry Law at 402-999-7777 or visit BarryLawFirm.com. At Barry Law, we're in it to win it.
Let me get you up to speed on the service that you need.
At Omaha Transmission, we don't have a warehouse full of transmissions waiting to be sold. We will diagnose and then repair or remanufacture your transmission. It's how we've always done it and how we'll always do it. Treating people the way that we want to be treated is how we do business at Omaha Transmission.
Omaha Transmission, shifting to running smooth.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone, for the people.
The universe is so much bigger.
By the people.
Hello, we come in peace.
And the love of the game.
I wouldn't say a hardcore fan, but I'll watch it.
Please rise.
Get up, stand up.
For Sharp and Handley.
Very creative, Chief. Very, very creative.
Thank you, Chief.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Basketball and beer and debauchery all come together. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Or is it St. Patty's Day? What's the right way? Is it St. Patrick's Day or St. Patty's Day?
It's St. Patrick's Day right now.
Yeah,
After a few, it becomes St. Patty's.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Boy, both of you guys have leaned deeply into wearing green today. Hello.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I usually am bad about this.
Go Michigan State, I guess.
67% Irish.
Michigan State Radio Network.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. This is we're a pro Smarty crowd here.
When I was in baseball, this is like a huge day in spring training because everybody wears green. The bases are green.
That's what the hat is.
Festive atmosphere.
I'm a Cleveland St. Patrick's hat.
This town is kind of a festive place. People are already off and running. This is to all you amateurs out there. This is one of your bigger drinking days.
Yes.
So good luck. I will not be joining you, because I don't like to be around amateurs that, once or twice a year come out and like, I'm going to get crazy. I'm going to have a party.
Oh, yeah. It's like New Year's. It becomes amateur hour quickly.
I get
you.
So there are certain like drinking days, like holidays, unofficial holidays. A lot of people would put today at the top, and then Cinco de Mayo. You also have New Year's Eve. A lot of people go out and they celebrate. It's not, in my opinion, not like an official drinking holiday. It's just a holiday to go out and have fun on New Year's Eve. And then Mardi Gras. A drinking day, like unofficially, and please drink and perform responsibly, that does not get enough run, that I think is one of the top days. And I got to imagine, in terms of the kitty at a bar, is the night before Thanksgiving, that Wednesday before Thanksgiving. All the bars are packed. Everybody's back from college.
Yep.
They're hanging out. People want to go out before they're inundated with their in-laws, and you sleep for a day and a half. I think the night before Thanksgiving is quickly rising to one of the top of my list.
It was underrated for so long. And I learned this when I left for college, and I came back. I was like, wait, this is a thing. I can get behind this.
If it's a night anymore in the last 5 years where my old ass is going to avoid the bars, that means it's a good drinking night. And Wednesday before Thanksgiving is one where I'm like, I'm probably not going to go out. I'm not going to go have a drink after, the afternoon when the family comes in town or anything like that. We might just do it at the house, because you get out to the local establishments and there's a lot of people, but we all partook in that. I mean, maybe you still do. We all did. And it was a blast. And then, we couldn't wait to soak up all that alcohol with some fine turkey and mashed potatoes the next day. Yeah, it is. It's a solid one.
So
It's a great one.
for today, everybody that is celebrating, and there's a lot of places in town to celebrate, and this has turned into a pretty good St. Patty's Day town. I think any city in America that has been cooped up for like 4 months with cold weather, this is like your outlet. You're like, oh, it just happens to coincide. We have the second day of the NCAA tournament, and Creighton men and women are playing today, which will just add to all of the fun. So good luck out there. We used to be on remote on St. Patty's Day on this radio station.
Oh, really?
So when Nick Baugh was doing middays, he went to, I think it was the Clancy's that used to exist at 72nd and Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild how they quickly got rid of that Clancy's and they put up what is it, Come and Go?
Remember they used to have like the, you could take the different little, I don't know if they did a trolley or some type of transportation to all the Clancy's in Omaha. And you just like a big whole day thing. It was a Friday, Saturday, Thursday, whatever. It like started like 8 a.m. You could go from the 72nd, you could go to the 114th, and I think then they had the West one. You go all the way out west, and you're going back and forth. It's like, man, that used to be the thing.
Again, I think we're probably in a very underrated town when it comes to celebrating this holiday. We had, parade last weekend. You got a lot of Irish themed bars.
Yep.
But Nick is doing the midday show over at Clancy's 72nd and Pacific in that general area, and people there were starting early. I mean, they build the outside tent, and they have. When you ever bring in porta potties, you know that you're about to get lit. And so Nick's doing his show, and it's around the time of the NCAA basketball tournament. I think it was when St. Patty's Day was on a Tuesday. And, you got a couple of days before the tournament begins. And Nick was serious. As a hoop head, he wanted to break down the games. And he starts his show, and like people had been tying one on for like 3-4 hours already. And they're like, oh, my God, Nick Baugh! And people were touching the equipment.
Yeah.
And they were like talking to him while he was on the air. I remember Nick, after that, he goes, never again.
Yep.
Never again will I be on remote during St. Patty's Day. So again, everybody that's out there, celebrate. It's also a big day. So it's not only basketball and beer and whatever other B word you want to use, but for us Catholics, did you see what the Pope said? I don't know if you got the text from the Pope.
He did not text me, no.
He has a perfect bracket?
No. That would be amazing.
That would be.
That would be a little bit.
That'd
be a little bit shady.
Well,
if the Pope had a perfect bracket, because then we'd have to look into some things. I know we've had some issues with the Pope, but like shaving and that kind of stuff and throwing games would probably be well beneath him.
Yeah.
But for us Catholics, today is a big day because the Pope texted everybody, and it was a group text. If you didn't get it,
I wasn't in it.
If you didn't get it, you
Jeez.
haven't been a good Catholic.
I have not been a good Catholic, apparently.
We can eat meat today.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Now that is true.
Whoa.
So the last time.
Load up on a nice little ribeye.
Last time St. Patrick's Day was on a Friday. We were out in Minnesota. I remember my wife saying that because I was at the time going through our CIA. So I wasn't a full Catholic yet. And
you were part of the club.
That sounds painful.
Yeah, I was in my probate stage, if you will. And yeah, my wife said, and because I leaned on her, I'm like, I know we're not supposed to eat meat. And we were at a couple of pubs. There was a real cool place in the Twin Cities called Britt's Pub. They had really good fish and chips. And I was like, I'm down with fish and chips. Let's do that. And she's like, well, we could have meat today. And so I asked why. It was St. Patrick's Day on a Friday of Lenten. You are actually able to absolve yourself from the no meat. So
I found this out years too late. I mean, I'm not practicing Catholic anymore, but I was raised Catholic, and I could have brought this to the table in my house.
We are just crushing that religion. Lions Pub. Also, next time you're up there, Lions Pub, good Irish. It's a Nebraska bar in downtown Minneapolis, right next to Murray's. Great steakhouse. So there you go. You can take care of both things today. So welcome in, everybody. It is a Friday. We lead you up to day number 2 of the NCAA tournament. Good morning also if you're just waking up and those late tip times. Like the Mountain and the Pacific time zone are perfect for the NCAA tournament because of the late tip times on Thursday and Friday, especially Thursday with our schedule.
Found that out last year in Palo Alto.
So if anybody stayed up that is listening right now and you watch the end of UCLA, UNCA, kudos. Thank you.
Thank you.
For you. You could have probably, after the first TV timeout, just turned it off and said, UCLA is a wagon tonight. Asheville has no shot of winning this game.
That's actually what happened. 14-0. We're done.
Hey, they won by 33. They were pretty impressive. But it is day number 2, 10 o'clock. We'll have the pregame on, and then 11 will begin our round-the-clock coverage, which we will stop, and we'll bring the Creighton game coming up at 3. I just want to tell everybody, okay? I'm not Mr. Hyperbole here. I'm trying to help out the masses. We're going to definitely talk a lot about Creighton and North Carolina State today. Just after what happened yesterday in the South region, Arizona being Arizona, embarrassing effort, not giving a hero ball, end of the game. You got what you deserved. And it wasn't even like a high-scoring game. We'll discuss that. But there's, the other upsets that happen. And Creighton plays today against NC State in a 6-11 game. Be careful, everybody. I know that became a thing yesterday of, and it's probably the same people wearing green of Baylor are going, oh boy, now it has opened up to get to the Elite Eight because Princeton and Mizzou. Just be very, very careful because this is why we call it March Madness. Even though 2 and 4 are out and 5 struggled a little bit in your region, you have yet to play, and this is why we call it March, okay? If you look at yesterday, in some of the either real upsets or perceived upsets, and you're going off a metric, off the show, I just cautioning everybody, ahead, don't touch the money, one game at a time, and if you're lucky enough to win one game, you get another game, and that could be against Baylor or UC Santa Barbara.
Don't be like Ray Jackson against Chong Lee. It's not over just because you knocked him down.
I did not have that on my bingo card as a reference. It's
Chong Lee.
6-17, Jimmy.
Jackson! Jackson!
But yesterday, here's your opportunity. If you want to say your bracket is busted so you get in the line first, you can.
Yeah, mine's not good. I didn't tweet out the era because it's like when you have a bad day in fantasy football and you tweet about it. Nobody cares. Seriously, nobody cares. And nobody cares that, I did pick Arizona to win the national championship, and I feel like an absolute gomer for doing that. But I'm not going to be like, it's busted. Because I know y'all don't care.
Well, that was embarrassing.
It was very bad.
Arizona's loss was embarrassing.
The amount of Fs that Arizona gave in that game, the last half of it was embarrassing.
Well, they've been prone to upsets like that. I mean, they have some weird results on their ledger, but
shout out Steve Nash.
Not as weird as yesterday, but you FO,
yeah,
that's what happens.
Perfect definition of it.
It was an ugly basketball game too.
Yeah, usually in those kind of upsets,
there's a lot of threes.
We're on a stretch of 3 straight years where 15 has beat a 2.
Yes, we are.
The first game in the tournament is always the toughest, in my opinion, because you're going to be a little bit tight. It's a new arena, new basketballs, by the way. Don't overlook that. They're sticky. They're Wilson basketballs. They've just been taken out of the box. It's not like they've been used all year.
Right.
So there's a lot of things in the first game you have to adjust to. Some adjust quicker than others. Others never adjust, and you kind of let teams hang around, and you go, what is going on here? Well, Arizona, when you have a 15 versus a 2, it always seems like it's a high-scoring game, and big shots are hit.
Right.
And the team that is the 15, because again, we're 3 straight years that we've had a 15 win, is they get hot. That was not the case yesterday. Princeton did not shoot very well at all.
What, 4 3-pointers? Is that it?
They were 4 of 25, and it wasn't a high-scoring game.
No.
Usually in these upsets, we get a lot of high-scoring games. We don't get low-scoring games. Arizona, you scored 55 points.
Right.
Yeah, you broke my bracket, but you did it to yourself. You did it to your fan base. You had a loss where you go, what the?
Yeah.
And good on Princeton. But that, to me, that was a lot of Arizona just messing around, and they got what they deserved.
Reminded me, actually, it was a 3-14, but when I was in school, KU and Buckner at the
Bucknell,
at the Ford Center in Oklahoma City, and it was exactly that kind of game. And I knew they were in trouble when they walked out that particular night. First of all, they walked out. Bucknell runs out like Hoosiers, like a team, layup line and everything. KU walked out. They had the pants kind of undone, the tearaways, and they just walked like,
they're in Cadillac Cruise.
Yeah, FAFO, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that, that you think of the 15-2 and a team that you knew very well, Sharpie, and Florida Gulf Coast. Like, when you watched that, you're just immediately you're thinking, okay, this team is just, they're throwing everything at them, but they're the athletes that they have, and it's overwhelming, and they're up and down the floor. My gosh, the pace of this, and it just, Georgetown, you would think at some point could maybe keep up with it, but they were overwhelmed with it. There was none of that in this Princeton, Arizona game. There wasn't that, oh my gosh, look at this team, they can't miss, or oh my God, look at them flying all over the place. Like, this is going to be a handful for Arizona or whoever they're playing. That wasn't the case. It was just like Arizona. I think Myron Metcalf said it best. He kind of described it as arrogance. Like, Arizona just kind of had, and almost kind of the way you described Kansas and Bucknell, where you just have sort of an arrogance.
We're going to lose to them.
And then but you could see, and everybody watching that game is like, wow, this actually may not go well for Arizona. It was like the light bulb kind of went off for Arizona too, where they're like, oh crap. But by that time, Prince is like, we can beat this team.
That last
and we're not even playing great, and we can beat this team.
I like
as bad.
I like the phrase arrogance, the way Arizona played.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of ingredients when you have an opening round upset, when it's like a 15-2 or a 14-3, and you can drop down another seed line. Is you have ingredients where the pace that you play, and just I like the word arrogance, because in that game, Arizona was up 2 at half, but there were so many easy baskets that Princeton was getting.
Yeah.
And they were killing them on the offensive glass. Princeton was killing Arizona.
Yes.
Arizona was going through the motions and like, you know what? We're here. We're a 15 against or 2 against a 15. We're going to win this game, until they woke up at the end and went, oh man. That's why I can appreciate performances last night, like by Alabama, by UCLA, where you're the much higher seed and you don't mess around. You immediately throw the knockout punch, like Duke. And Duke is not a 5. Duke and Penn State are woefully underseeded.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
But Duke, no one saw that result coming. That large of a result when you win by 23. I didn't like the matchup for Oral Roberts. I also think Duke is not a 5. But Duke didn't mess around. They were up 5-0, then they were up 15-0. That game was over. You don't give the opposing team ingredients to pull an upset. You immediately throw the knockout punch, you keep the hammer down, and you suck the life out of them, and it's over. I mean, UNC Asheville, they're feeling pretty good. And then UCLA, without Clark and without Bona last night, boom, they punch him right away. Arizona let Princeton hang around. That's why I was so worried about Houston last night, because and even Tennessee let Louisiana hang around. Houston let Northern Kentucky hang around. Those are ingredients for upsets, but that first game is most difficult. Past the first game, you're playing in the same arena. You got a better feel. You're like, we've survived and advanced for some. And then the second time you play is much different. But we had 4 games of decided by 4 points or less. We had some bad shooting. Boy, there was some awful shooting yesterday. I think 19 of the 32 teams that played yesterday shot 43% or less. And there were 11 teams that shot less than 40%.
Yeah.
So I don't know. How would you guys rate the day? With those upsets that included that crazy Furman game, and then like we were just talking about.
So I'm glad you asked that, because as far as the day of overall basketball, it wasn't all that high. If you're really focusing in on the 2 upsets with Furman, Virginia, which you kind of expect. First of all, Furman was sort of a sexy pick. Virginia, we've seen this before, and with their style of play, they're susceptible for that. Okay. So I didn't maybe hold that game on a pedestal where it should have been a lot better. But again, using this Arizona upset to Princeton, I'm thinking if you tell me before the day, Princeton's got the upset, I'm thinking they're shooting close to a 45% clip beyond the arc.
I'm saying we started high and then just kind of leveled off at night, and it just kind of, there was basketball on. It was all right, and then it culminated at night with, like you said, you could turn it off when you see, this one's good.
Yeah.
Which to me tells me most times that today will be nuts.
Well, and hopefully it will. But the thing that I thought
too.
stood out yesterday was you had a handful, and you mentioned the teams like Duke, Kansas in the second half. Okay.
Yeah, once they got Bill on the Zoom call, I don't know if that's what they did.
As far as the higher seeds go, like there were struggles. Like I'm glad you brought up Houston, because after seeing what happened to Arizona, like you're holding on to the bitter end of that one too. And knowing that, Sasser is, now shelved again, not sure what's going to happen there. It was it was it was fun. Don't get me wrong, because this is fun when you get the upsets, but the overall quality of basketball, I would say it definitely struggled yesterday on the whole, as far as every game that you could watch and kind of watching it sort of culminate, especially the ones that were, coming down to the wire. It wasn't great basketball. Like I'll give credit to Iowa Auburn. Was a good game.
Yeah.
That was actually a good basketball game. It was entertaining to watch. But there were quite a few. And again, that Arizona Princeton one, just seeing that
Texas
thing.
and toothpaste got within single digits with about 8 minutes to go, but then it was over.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It was fun. It wasn't the greatest quality basketball is probably the way that I would kind of sum it up.
I can't get out of my head. You're talking about the Iowa game where they were down 17 and they came roaring back and they lose. Did you know Iowa basketball has not made the second weekend since 1999?
Dr. Tom, right? Last year.
Oof. So an exit for Iowa and a weird ending to the year. Remember when Nebraska beat them in Iowa City?
Yep.
And then I got beaten in the Big Ten tournament and they lost yesterday. That's for another segment. But
Just
I can't get
stating
out of my
facts.
head about that game. First of all, I'm gonna feel bad for Iowa here, so don't at me. They played a road game.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they did.
I mean, are Auburn fans coming to Des Moines and being shirtless in the crowd like they were when?
And they start them young.
Yeah, hey, I told you,
The Gumps.
the Gumps were out in Birmingham. They were out in full effect, and in that game, that was an Auburn home game.
Yeah.
I wonder how close it was to being flipped, where Iowa could have still been the 8, or they could have been the 9, still playing Auburn, but the game is in Des Moines and not in Birmingham. So Iowa kind of got the shaft there, but they also got the shaft because offensively and with their guard play this time of the year, I go, we'll get more into Iowa because I think there's something that we know about Iowa that we need to discuss about Fran McCaffrey. That's why today, with everything both of you guys have said, Creighton's a 5.5-point favorite. Just be careful. It's easy to look ahead. What happened 5 years ago yesterday in the same building when Virginia got upset and you went, oh my gosh, now it has opened up.
We got it.
Just telling you to be careful. Now, I'm on record. I get Creighton in the Sweet 16. Okay, but just be careful. UConn, Indiana, Creighton, and TCU. You're on alert today.
Yep.
You're on alert today. After, day yesterday where we had some upsets and some, did not see that coming. Like Penn State.
Yeah.
Penn State throttled Texas A&M. I mean, not just pulled away at the end. They throttled Texas A&M in Des Moines. Penn State got shafted because they were in the Big Ten tournament and they made it to Sunday. They should not be a 10 seed. Now,
Agreed.
Texas A&M, they laid an egg. They woofed and said, man, we should be better than a 7. Well, no.
You should be worse.
The team you played, Penn State, should not have been a 10. They were a 10 because of their playing on the weekend, and the committee was like, yeah, you know what? Whatever they do doesn't matter.
It's Penn State.
But Penn State said, hello, and now Penn State gets Texas.
Yeah, Micah Shrewsbury looks really good after that. Even better.
Yes, he does. All right, here is the lineup brought to you by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Also pretty good.
By the way, Higgy looked disinterested last night. He got the UCLA Asheville game.
Oh, that thing was like, what, 33-10 at one point? Probably good.
All right, let's work on our techniques and get a good run in.
Hey, they're one of the most impressive performances last night. Win that game by 33.
They're my champion.
I got them in the Final Four.
They're dominated where they should have, points in paint, points off turnover. But yeah, Higgy looked disinterested. He was like, I'm fired up for this game. This could be a 15-2. That game was over before the first media timeout.
Yeah.
Wrong 15-2.
But the lineup brought to you by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. Tell your friends. Sam Griesel's going to stop by at 8 o'clock. The Husker who is living his best life. He is popular back in his hometown after his lone year as a Husker. We will get his thoughts on a plethora of things. Wide-ranging is what they would describe it. He'll join us coming up at 8. Sammy G is always a great interview. Mike Schaefer stops by at 8:30. Nebraska football begins spring practice Monday. They will be practicing right now. They go from 6 to 8.
Yeah.
So right when we're on the air, they will be practicing. So we'll have some sound.
Maybe we'll get a live looking
Monday from the first day of practice. You know what? There's a lot of like minimal access, a lot of access to coaches and assistants. I think that's what it's going to be like moving forward.
It's good.
So Shafe will join us coming up at 8:30. And if you have not looked, next weekend, the list of recruits that Nebraska is assembling for unofficials. Hello, Daddy. I don't say hello, Mama. I say hello, Daddy. That's an impressive list. So Shafe will join us coming up at 8:30, fresh from his vacation. Corey Smith, who covers North Carolina State, will stop by. That game comes your way at 3 here on The Zone. The pregame with Ravi begins at 1, and the play-by-play with John and Nick, and the postgame show as well. Everybody be careful. Again, I have Creighton in the Sweet 16, but don't look ahead.
Oh, I'm with you.
Because Creighton today is playing a very unorthodox team.
Yeah.
There's guys going to be heat checking it from 26, 27 feet when you don't expect it. I don't know that North Carolina State belongs in the NCAA tournament. They can prove me wrong today. They're just a weird team to play. They're kind of like Arizona State. Like if they get on a heater, watch out.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of interesting parts and guys that just love to volume shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a weird team. You don't see a team like that all the time.
Their strength is their guard play, and what do we see that seems to run there in the tournament? It's guard play.
They get hot.
Mm-hmm.
So Corey Smith will stop by coming up at 9, and then Matt Verzal at 9:20. Again, we go till 10. Then we have the pregame on Westwood, and then around the clock coverage of day 2 of the NCAA tournament. All right, 32 past the hour, off and run. Sam Griesel's coming up at 8. You don't want to miss that chat with the Husker. Maybe he'll let us know how he's doing now as a recruiter.
Yeah. How's Casey?
Casey go home for spring break?
I don't know. It's been a little quiet on that front.
You don't see Casey out very much.
No.
He went to when the McGowans had their basketball camp, when they were back over the NBA All-Star weekend. That's like Casey was out and about, but you don't see him out very much in Lincoln, is what I'm told by my spies that are down in the capital city. Your thoughts on the tournament, or what is ahead for Creighton? And the mystery question is, who are they? Which version of Creighton will show up today? That's the tricky question. That's why I keep saying they're fascinating. Is it the team that reeled off 8 in a row, or is it the team that went 4-4 in their last 8? And they don't have a lot of wins over tournament teams during that stretch. Which team for Creighton is going to show up today? They're playing a weird team. But I like the line, 5.5. It really hasn't changed much. 951-1620. You can always email us into the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary or Handley at 1620thezone.com, or play with us on Twitter, on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Who doesn't like a little Twitter play on St. Patty's Day?
Play. Oh, that was a new one.
Check it, especially later on this afternoon. See how that looks.
That was a new one.
That thing can be a cesspool. I mean, it's a playground. It's a playground until Elon shuts it down or makes a mistake, and we're all cut off from access.
Mm-hmm.
Can't tweet links or pictures.
Our thoughts?
Good job yesterday by the Twitter folks, because Twitter didn't break down. That was an important day. These are two of the biggest days in the sports calendar, and Twitter didn't break down.
Kudos. Yeah, that's good. It's a feather in the cap.
What do we do with March Madness without Twitter? Did we just watch the games?
Yeah, we did.
Call our friends?
We watched the game.
Text your friends.
Maybe you gathered
Buy
more.
the newspaper?
Maybe your whole gathering was a lot bigger. Now it's, don't need to. We just tweet it out. Vent that way.
At Gary Sharp 1620, at Nick 1620 as well. We'll get an update next hour from Jimmy as well, because Creighton women play today after the men in South Bend against Mississippi State. All that to come, plus a good day yesterday in Tulsa for the Nebraska wrestling program. Busy show. Sam Griesel, Mike Schaefer, Corey Smith on North Carolina State, and Matt Verzal, all on a Friday edition on St. Patty's Day. Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Car repair is car repair. Most places you go can change your oil or fix your brakes. The difference is the experience you'll get at Omaha Car Care. We're part of the community. We were born here, and we believe that our relationship with you should be built to last. We're going to consult you, not sell you. We're going to give you a free loaner car. We're going to treat you like a valued friend that we want to continue to see in the years to come. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
College basketball is in full swing and gearing up for the college basketball tournament. Watch it all season long at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill. Of course, Oscar's serves great pizza, but don't forget about their award-winning charred buff wings or even their delicious fish and chips. Perfect for Friday nights. Dine in or carry out at 173rd and West Center. Carry out at 162nd and Maple, and order online at oscarsomaha.com.
When you keep a car for a long time, it becomes a classic. When you keep your air conditioner for a long time, it becomes, well, let's just say it doesn't get better with age. Call Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and have your old air conditioner checked out. If it's needed, you can have a brand new Carrier air conditioner installed in no time with fast and easy financing. When the other companies send salesmen, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of
The way we do the things we do.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
Hey, listener. Welcome to Limu's Karaoke Lounge, where Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need, and the music never stops. Hit it.
There's an emu with a full-time job. His partner's Doug, but Limu's the heartthrob. Grubs and worms, that's what Limu eats. Gotta fuel up to save you money and hit the streets.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
You ever get the feeling that the world is being held together with duct tape? Every day we're thrown some new meaningless drama in the fake news to distract us from the reality we're all about to face. Between the government trying to print their way out of debt, military conflicts, the disintegration of our most trusted institutions, and a looming food shortage, preparedness is no longer a choice. It's a necessity. You can trust My Patriot Supply. Our emergency food kits come packed with tasty meals, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one kit for each person in your family. Self-reliance is the only alternative to government food lines. Time is running out. Become ungovernable. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and save on dozens of different emergency food kits while you can. These kits are in stock, ship fast, and arrive in unmarked boxes for your privacy. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com before the next crisis strikes. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Businesses of Omaha, settling for a website that looks like it's stuck in the early 2000s? Then it's time to level up with JM Online. Our local team builds custom websites that solve unique business needs. We're not your typical web design company. We're your partners in online success. Ready to take your website to the next level? Go to jmonline.com and request an initial call.
From sales to service, the Woodhouse team provides insights and solutions to get you on the road faster and keep you on it. And if you're looking for the extras like accessories, extended warranties, or service contracts, they've got those also. Plus, they'll tailor the experience to you, from shopping and buying at home or the more traditional route at one of the 18 conveniently located dealerships, bringing you more every time. Shop with Woodhouse.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
We should play Dropkick Murphys every day.
Can I tell you because as soon as the song came on,
Are you going to tell me you're a sailor peg who lost your leg?
I did lose my leg climbing up the top sales. I lost my leg.
Nicely done. Let's go. Let's get more shenanigans going on a Friday.
Right?
Somebody's got to be starting by
Dropkick
now.
Murphys.
See what I did there?
I do.
So I did one of my best recent St. Patrick's Day adventures was in Boston, and we saw Dropkick at the House of Blues in Boston, right by Fenway, and it was exactly what you thought it would be.
Yeah, that'd be like heaven for you.
It was amazing.
As an Irishman.
And
right next to Fenway? Well, you could have
Right-
died. You could
right
have
by Fenway.
died and gone to heaven.
we did we did the tour of Fenway. Is it bad that when I walked into Fenway, I'm like, is this where the cops cornered in Ben Affleck in the movie Town? Is this right here where it happened? Right there? Is that the ambulance? Right there? Oh, you can tell me about the Green Monster Lake. I don't really care about that, but
I hate LA t-shirt.
Yeah.
And really,
what was actually cool about the concert, I met a guy from the UK who had a Dropkick Murphys hockey jersey on. And for people who know me, you know that I'm not really into EPL. I'm not really into soccer that much. But I don't hate it. It's just not something that I do on the weekends. And is it bad that I just assumed that this gentleman I was talking to, his name was Liam, which just sounds like
Perfect.
exactly. That he just despise soccer. And I just felt like you typically get kicked out of the country if you despise soccer. He loved hockey. He loved hockey. He was a very fascinating individual. And so I had a couple beers with him. And
only a couple.
And then we enjoyed Dropkick Murphys. But yes, it was that was a epic experience, seeing Dropkick House of Blues on St. Patrick's Day. Unbelievable.
Sam Griesel coming up at 8 o'clock. The Husker basketball player who is everywhere in Lincoln. Sammy Gio Jones coming up at 8. So Creighton plays today at 3 against North Carolina State. Game here right here on the Zone. There's also something going on at 4:30 today. So 5-star small forward Trenton Flowers is going to make his announcement. He had a great visit here. I used to think Nebraska, Creighton was in the lead. And I think they still have a really good shot. But odd that Creighton plays at 3, and he announced this a long time ago that he was going to announce at 4:30 Central Time. He's a 5-star, and he's legit. He had a great visit here. He was here for the Xavier weekend, and I think Creighton has a really good chance. But I noticed this morning, there's a lot of crystal balls for Louisville. So Louisville, who had just an awful season. I mean, Louisville basketball was brutal. They were really, really, I'm being kind.
You can't overstate it enough.
But have you seen what Louisville has done post their season coming to an end? They are racking up either portal guys. So Dennis Evans, the 5-star who decommitted from Minnesota, is going to go to school there. Clark, who left Illinois, just committed to Louisville. And now Trenton Flowers. There's a lot of crystal balls for him to go to Louisville when I think Creighton had a really, really good shot. He's going to announce at 4:30. And that's a little odd. I mean, Creighton's playing
still be
3,
playing.
But Kenny Payne, hello. What did Louisville win? 4 games?
4,
this
I
year?
believe, right?
Now all of a sudden,
a dog crapped on the court at halftime of a game. That tells you all you need to know about their season.
So true.
Mm-hmm. Symbolism.
They've had kind of a turnaround, so keep an eye on that. But a lot of crystal balls have popped in the last 24 to 48 hours for Louisville. His finalists are Alabama, Arkansas, Creighton, KU, Louisville, and North Carolina.
That's a pretty good list.
Is that a program, Louisville, that anybody felt like would be down for a while, though?
I mean, Chris Mack, look what Pitino did there.
Yeah.
Then they got in a little bit of a trouble.
Then look what Pitino did there.
They had the transition where you have an interim head coach in Padgett. They play in an NBA arena. Yum Yum is a nice place. It's a passionate state. You see Big Blue Nation. The program shouldn't be down like that. And I'm just looking at their past week. They're not going to be down for very much longer. Excuse me. So Trenton Flowers will announce today at 4:30. Can I ask? So there was the media availability yesterday out in Denver, and I don't know if you guys want to talk about the question from Adam at Channel 3 to Mac about the season being a success. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. Never in your wildest dreams as a coach, when he's presented that on a podium with his 5 starters, is going to say, No, it would not be a success, or he would never use the word failure.
Right.
Never. So I'm not going to get super caught up into that. We can discuss that a little bit later. But what I have a problem with, as this season now reaches March and the run for Creighton, can we stop talking about the 6-game losing streak?
Yeah, I think it's irrelevant.
You know, the 6-game losing streak, there was one constant during that. The big fella, how you doing? Was not playing or was not at 100%.
The incredible
He's got to have the best. Kalkbrenner's got to have the best WAR in the Big East. Okay, wins above replacement. There is no doubt. Everybody knows what his impact is at Creighton.
Right.
He didn't play in that game. You don't need to look and ask the guys that were there to go, well, your guys really struggled, and I know there was some moxie and bounce back. That's long gone. Quit asking about that.
Yeah.
They lost 6 games. It's not like, well, we just were awful. You know what the reason was? Number 11 wasn't playing.
Right.
There. That's the end of the story. 11 is playing now. It's entirely different. Quit asking about the 6-game losing streak.
Yeah, I feel like it's irrelevant at this point. You are where you are. You have been able, you're still, and a lot of people, when you look at the tournament and people kind of breaking it down, Creighton is on a lot of people's radar. And Creighton is one of those teams, and we talked about this earlier in the week, about a team that is fascinating for the reason of a lot of teams being fascinated. You see a ceiling, but you just don't know how it's all going to sort of go for that team, because they've given you times with Kalkbrenner in the lineup. They've given you times to maybe doubt them a little bit too. But boy, when they're going and their starting 5 is as good as anybody in the country, the 6-game losing streak is it part of the season? Yeah, absolutely. It was part of the season, but it's the same part of the season when we talk about teams that either had a rough patch where maybe they weren't hitting their scoring average or they slumped, and you can always point to something on the reason why. And that's the big reason why. So if you already know, okay, that was them, but without Ryan Kalkbrenner. Ryan Kalkbrenner, last I checked, is healthy. He's 100% active. He's going to be playing tonight. He's going to be part of that starting 5. It's almost kind of silly to bring up, because how completely different, not just Creighton, but any team would be if a guy like that was out of the lineup.
It's right now, it's a lazy narrative.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, they didn't let it crater their season, but there's the reason number 11 came back and he was 100%. Now, I don't know that he's 100% today. A little banged up against Xavier. I would take Ryan 85%.
Yeah.
It's just very lazy to me right now. That's part of the season that they didn't have their starting 5 together. If their starting 5 was together and they went through a 6-game losing streak, first of all, you go, whoa. They didn't have a fully locked and loaded number 11. He changes that entire basketball team on both ends of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? The other 4 on the floor, they feel so much different when he's out there.
Yes.
Just look at any time that he has to go to the bench to get a little breather, or that rare time he's in foul trouble.
Mm-hmm.
That's again, I didn't get so much caught up in a successful season type question. That's the one that probably I was like, come on, we got to move past that. We're long past that. Okay. And there's a reason why. That's just too easy. That's throwing up a softball.
Right. The comparison I've always brought up is in the baseball terminology too. When you think of a team that's up and down, but when you have your ace going, everybody on the field is better. Everybody on the field is supremely confident because they have their guys. That's how this team is. Trey Alexander is a huge part of this team. Baylor Shireman's a huge part of this team. Ryan Nemhart's a huge part of this team. Art Kaluma, most of the times, big part of this team. But when you take the most important part, just like if maybe you got your number 3 on the mound and he's a little dicey, just like going to the bench and, maybe having to start a Freddie King, you're just not the same team. Your confidence naturally is not going to be the same because you feel like you're going to have to do more. You're going to have to pick up a little bit more of that slack. And sometimes it takes you out of your comfort zone, or it takes you out of your abilities. And so, again, if Kalkbrenner wasn't playing, or was, okay, say he did suffer an injury and we're not sure, he's a game time decision. Okay, maybe it's part of the conversation because you've seen that team without him. But it shouldn't be a big part. Is it something that they experienced during the season? Yeah, but there's an exact reason why you can point to that, what happened in those 6 games. Like you said, if that happens with Kalkbrenner if they go on a 6-game losing streak with Kalkbrenner in the lineup, okay, then there's a conversation. Then that becomes kind of an interesting story because, wow, you guys overcame a real tough stretch. What did you all learn together while on the floor together to kind of put that in the rear view?
That's Nick. Jimmy here as well. Sam Greasel coming up at 8 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts. He's watching a lot of basketball. Maybe he'll chime in about the 2 wins over Iowa and the fact that Fran McCaffrey has been to 12 NCAA tournaments, has never made the second weekend.
By the way, couldn't be a nicer dude.
Fran McCaffrey?
Well, I don't know about Fran, but no, I'm talking about Sam when we were setting this up for today.
Hey,
I mean,
he's a number one.
Mhm.
He's a good dude.
Mhm.
He's one of those guys that you wish the best for, and I know you wish probably that he was playing in some form or fashion this week in some tournament. I mean, he's been to the NCAA tournament before with North Dakota State. So Sam will join us coming up at 8 o'clock.
That's right.
Also,
I called one of his games there.
Mike Schaefer will stop by with thoughts on many things. Maybe the World Baseball Classic, which he took in back from his trip to Vegas and to Arizona. Corey Smith, who covers North Carolina State, will stop by. Again, they're unorthodox. Now, they're guards. I'll tell you this. They don't lack confidence. They talked some smoke yesterday. You watch Alexander and Nembhard today. I don't think some of the comments about the way the game's going to be played or who can guard who sat very well with either Alexander and Nembhard. Watch that matchup today. Joyner and Smith, they don't lack confidence, but I thought they threw a little bit of a jab towards Creighton, and I don't think that was received very well because everybody's talking about North Carolina State's guards. So Corey Smith will stop by coming up at 9. Matt Verzal as well. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley with Jimmy at 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a significant delay from 96 to 90th along L Street. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for a minor slowdown from 84th to 72nd. And other than that, it looks like your commute this morning should be pretty smooth, even if you're running a bit late. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
Does great pay, fully funded medical benefits, and a solid retirement sound good to you? IBEW has immediate openings for journeyman electricians. Invest in yourself with IBEW Local 22. Call Bob at 402-980-7596.
One of the Nebraska Lottery's most explosively fun promotions is back. Cash Blast. Until April 18th, buy a 2x2 ticket, enter the voucher number, and you could win $5,000 or $500. If your winning voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket or a multiple of 7 ticket, your prize is doubled. There will be 7 weekly drawings and 14 total winners in Cash Blast. So play today. You'll have a blast. But that goes without saying. 2x2 top prize odds, 1 in 105,000.
Haven't played Powerball from the Nebraska Lottery in a while? It's easy, fun, and you could win a fortune. Visit your nearest Nebraska Lottery retailer. Pick 5 numbers between 1 and 69 and a Powerball number between 1 and 26. Or just ask the clerk for a quick pick. With the starting jackpot in the millions and drawings Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, you'll soon remember why Powerball is Nebraska's favorite lotto game. Powerball top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Email unsportsmanlike conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey, listener, welcome to Limu's Karaoke Lounge, where Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need, and the music never stops. Hit it.
There's an emu with a full-time job. His partner's Doug, but Limu's the heartthrob. Grubs and worms, that's what Limu eats. Gotta fuel up to save you money and hit the streets.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey y'all, this is your girl Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge? For a coupon and daily support, sign up at Metamucil.com today.
This afternoon, the Creighton Blue Jays begin play in the NCAA tournament as they take on the NC State Wolfpack. Pre-game coverage begins with Robbie Lula at 1 p.m. Then join me and Nick Baugh courtside at 3. The Creighton Blue Jays in the NCAA tournament this afternoon on 1620 The Zone.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
What is it? If you are wearing green, you get kissed. If you're not wearing green, you pinch.
You get pinched.
That was
Now
that was a thing in school, and I guess probably nowadays you can't do that.
Not without some sort of written agreement.
If you're wearing
Maybe
green,
an NDA. Handshake.
Don't you need some type of message on your clothing that it says it's okay to kiss you, though? Now, if you're not, I feel like, yes, it was always believed that you are subject to being pinched. But I didn't know if you wore green, like you were just, hey, anybody on the street come up and give you a big old wet Irish kiss, as opposed to just a regular kiss.
We could do an experiment. Want to do it inside the building?
Is this another What Would Nick Do on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Friday edition.
We could just make
Friday
it on,
edition.
Friday.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful on what you wear on a T-shirt and what you put on TV during the Mizzou-Utah State game yesterday. By the way, that just shows if you hit the home run with a hire, I don't care what sport it is, the college level, professional level, if you hit the home run with a coach, what can happen and the doors that open. Mizzou basketball, which has wandered through the Sahara forever, and I know Jimmy is a KU guy, you're very, very sad about it. Over 4,000 days since they won an NCAA game.
Remember Quinn Snyder there?
Very well.
Yeah, I like Quinn Snyder.
I do too. He's a member of the Spurs family now.
So I believe he's much better suited in the NBA than he was as a college basketball coach.
But Mizzou made the right. I mean, they got Dennis Gates, who was a hot commodity last year from Cleveland State. And they make the hire, and they hit a home run, and they win an NCAA game. They were better defensively yesterday than I thought. And they are a win away from the Sweet 16. They got to beat Princeton to get there. And all of a sudden, I think college basketball is better when Mizzou is better, but it's still odd to me that
I still think of Norm.
Mizzou plays in the SEC in basketball. They should come back to the Big Eight. But they had a fan in the stands yesterday. It's one of those when you're doing crowd shots, and you got to be very, very, very careful. The Mizzou fan that had the shirt on said, "It's game day, bitches."
I'm surprised it wasn't an anti-KU shirt because they always have them on their mind unless you're Eli Drinkwitz.
Do you think that guy will wear the same shirt on Saturday?
Yes, and he
Oh,
better.
absolutely.
And if you're his friend, you will make him if he decides he wants to do something else.
Do you think somebody told him to cover up?
No,
Not that school,
All right.
not that fan base.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jimmy. There are maybe certain schools, certain fan bases that someone had taken upon themselves, maybe in a higher power would say no.
This is the fan base that wore T-shirts that said "scoreboard" on the front, and on the back had a picture of Quantrill burning down Lawrence. So no.
See, I miss those rivalries.
I do too. I mean, that's what it was about. There's a reason why. So I sent a message to one of my friends that still plays on the women's team now. They might play Missouri in the WNIT second round if both. I think Mizzou won.
Hold on.
And KU plays tonight.
Time out. So you have a coach or an actual player?
No, one of the players.
Oh.
I mean, I still have friends down there. Like
Still texting the girls on the KU
and
basketball team?
nothing like that. But I say, hey, you
Whoa.
guys got to wear red socks if you play Missouri, because the football team used to wear red when they would play Missouri for a reason.
You got to go there, huh?
This is weird.
I figured you were going to go there when I said that, but yeah, it's no, it's still very much. They're all still very much family, and so yeah, if they get to play, there'll be some hate for that game. It's a good thing. It's okay if your mind's in the gutter.
Mine is not in the gutter. I've not spent time around a women's team. I don't know if that's appropriate or not.
Oh no, it's like I said, they're family and
okay,
yeah,
that's good. And they very much accepted you as part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
They would dog sit if you asked.
One did after she was done playing.
See,
okay, good.
After she was done playing, oh yeah, met with compliance about that.
That'd be very, very weird.
No, yeah.
You met with compliance?
Oh yeah, when I got the job, we had a meeting about do's and don'ts.
And a don't is do not have an active player babysit.
Don't have them do anything. In fact, one of them, this is literally what they said. If there was a tornado coming and you're driving and you see one of the players walking on campus, you cannot offer him a ride. It's like, so if an F5 is bearing down on them, I'm to just let them walk. I mean, I'm not going to be driving during said storm anyway, but and I'm thinking, make a funny, kind of lighten up the mood. No, the director of compliance, it was just like nothing. There was no facial change. It was like, that's exactly what we said.
That makes sense. And
this is our concern.
In Kansas to bring up a tornado. I mean, it might.
Yeah.
See, I've probably committed 2 violations as the voice of Omaha men's basketball in giving players rides that I've seen walking on campus and they're walking like to practice and it's cold.
Yeah.
And I'll say, get in.
Hey, you're going to catch a cold. We need you.
I'm going to get Adrian on real quick. We need to self-report this.
But yeah, so one of the players, when they were done, they dog sat when it was actually the trip we went to Waco, the day the first Chiefs parade. Got to specify now that they have multiple parades.
You're like Rain Man.
In a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way.
I still have some of my useless knowledge that.
How many seconds to Wapner?
Grant, insurance man Grant, email sent to the Equitable Bank inbox. He says the things to wear or not wear on a T-shirt. I'm Irish. Should I know what that means? Am I?
Did you say I'm Irish?
Yeah, I'm Irish.
I like that.
Which would be very.
I haven't seen that.
Very popular T-shirt, like in Colorado,
right? Today,
or in Missouri.
Yes.
Yep.
Or in South Dakota,
Chicago.
Oh, that's right. The state of Illinois.
Yep.
Oh,
you notice it too.
This is like a great American holiday right now. All right, 3 o'clock.
I'm Irish.
3 o'clock today.
Lots of munchies, regardless of whatever your tonic is.
Lay into it if you're in Denver today. Lay into it. All of our Creighton fans out there. Be Irish today.
How you doing, Bishop?
I thought the same thing.
We are green with envy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, 3 o'clock today. Creighton and North Carolina State will meet my one shining player, Trey Alexander. You watch. Trey Alexander, who is, we know how important he is on one end of the floor in offense. Dude can play some defense.
Yeah.
Trey Alexander is my one shining player for as long as Creighton goes. The easy would be, how you doing? Number 11. But I go with Trey Alexander. Trey Alexander's NBA draft stock, which is already fairly good, middle of the second round, maybe a little bit higher in that second round, going to continue to elevate. I'm a big 2-3 fan, and I think he'll be the one shining player for Creighton that you won't have to worry about here in the NCAA tournament.
I think it's fair. Yeah, you're right about the obvious. You most likely don't have to worry about 11, but with Trey Alexander, yes, the guy that I always feel like kind of gives you a little bit of idea on if it's just one of those games that's back and forth and there needs to be that difference. Like people say Baylor, Shireman, and Kaluma, I still go Nemhard. Nemhard with the decision-making. You're getting good decision-making. You're getting some buckets from Nemhard. That is another guy. And I think your point about Alexander is a lot different than what I'm talking about with Nemhard, because I think we'd agree his play on both ends is it's becoming dynamic. And Nemhard at a different level, if composed, again, good decisions, where you've got some with Creighton.
We're going to update here in just a moment for Jimmy. We go till 10. No other shows are on the air. They're all at home sleeping.
Did anybody respond to your text?
No, I texted everybody.
No, nobody
I'm
responded?
Like, hey, good morning. Happy St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
At 6 a.m.
What you doing today?
No, nobody's
Guys want to come in, hang out?
responded yet.
We have beer in the fridge.
We have the Westwood Hour pregame show coming up at 10. You can probably step out of that. It's okay to watch like the last 15 minutes of The Price is Right, because yesterday and today have to be the highest rated last 15 minutes of Price is Right all year long. And it's already the number one daytime show. Am I correct on that?
It's got to be. I don't even think I need to see in any type of empirical data on that.
I mean, for God's sake, it can't be The View.
No,
I hope not.
But Price is Right has to be, even with no Bob Barker.
Mm-hmm.
Not rest in peace.
No,
still with us.
Just enjoying retirement,
and he's still taking care of animals.
Mm-hmm.
But like people tune in that have forgotten about Price is Right, because Price is Right all of a sudden shows up in prime time, like during the summer. But people watch The Price is Right. I'd love to see like the last 15 minutes when people tune in to watch that. Creighton plays at 3. We'll have more on last night. If your bracket is busted.
Yep.
Mine's not busted.
Mine's not good.
But I have a major worry about my team I've been riding since October. Man, I am fearful.
I did think that
Houston, Auburn playing in Birmingham.
Sasser's status.
Sasser.
Yep.
Well, they also might have another injury as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm now really worried about Houston, and that would just finish my bracket, and I would be done. And then I'd be on to fantasy baseball.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, at last check, pending last night's results, the dog leads the family bracket contest right now. So that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, Reese is looking good. His Final Four still intact, so that's good.
Yeah, oh yeah, she has a bracket. She picks based on animals.
Who are you people?
My son, he's got a good bracket.
Yeah, I know.
Oh. You're like, name names.
I think I could vibe with a toddler doing a bracket, but a dog?
Yeah, dog. She has a bracket.
What was the process there? Because we literally have Reese point.
Jimmy, God bless you. You love that dog.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
dog is like everything. Good on you. You spend more on the dog than you do on your wife.
And
vice versa.
And you're not a crazy cat lady, which is good too.
No. The process is she picks animals or based on animals, or if there's a home favorite, because she's from Kansas. That's where she was born. That's where she was adopted.
Does the dog talk?
No,
because you're making it sound like the dog talks.
Well, her Final
Talks to
Four:
them.
Gonzaga, Tennessee, Drake, and Arizona. So, well, I guess she's not. Maybe no. The Arizona, yeah, that's done.
Yeah,
she does have Gonzaga
me
beating
and
Tennessee.
your dog are feeling it today.
She has the Bulldogs beating Smokey.
Yeah, they did not. Well, they can.
I think she has
redemption
KU
against
winning
Duke,
tomorrow.
but
And if you're like me, if you're someone who had Arizona going all the way, this is where you just got to root for the most chaos, so you still have some representation in the Final Four.
All right, Sam Griesel coming up at 8 o'clock. He'll join the show on the second day of the NCAA tournament. Everything else going on, there's a lot of basketball. There's a lot of other things in the postseason. Jimmy's here with an update.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Creighton women tomorrow. I got to click the wrong thing here. Creighton women not tomorrow. Today, this afternoon, the Fighting Flans at 5 o'clock look to go on another magical March run. They'll be taking on 11 seed Mississippi State. Remember, they won a play-in game, so that's always something to keep in mind. Are they a little more loose, a little more hot getting into it? Game will be televised on ESPN News, and of course, you can hear it all here on 1180. Winner gets the winner of Notre Dame and Southern Utah. That precedes that game, but you'll probably be watching the Creighton men who play at 3. Nebraska women's basketball is going to host Northern Iowa in the second round of the WNIT. Unfortunately, guys, it will not be at Devaney. It will be at PBA. Sunday at 2 o'clock. UNI beat Colorado State 88-76 in Cedar Falls last night. Chicago Bulls guard Lonzo Ball. This sucks. He'll undergo a third surgical procedure on his left knee in 14 months. The team announced it yesterday. Concerns persist about his eventual ability to resume his career. The surgery is likely going to cost him all of next season.
Yeah.
You hate to see that, regardless of who that is, because it's likely going to end his career. That's just how it usually goes. Starting times, in case you're just waking up and haven't checked it yet, for tomorrow's games are in. First game at 11 o'clock, 11:10, Furman and San Diego State. Duke and Tennessee follow at 1:40. The first 3 games all on CBS. Arkansas and Kansas in a hotly contested Liberty Bowl rematch.
And the Battle of Kansas.
Yeah. A lot has changed at Arkansas since that Liberty Bowl. Their pig died, remember?
That's right.
Several weeks ago. So, storylines. Princeton and Mizzou at 5:10 on TNT. Auburn and Houston, and I also worry about Houston. I have them in my Final Four. They're at 6:10. Penn State and Texas in a rematch of the 97 Fiesta Bowl at 6:45. Northwestern at UCLA at 7:40. Maryland, Alabama at 8:40. That's the last game on Saturday night, and that'll be on TBS. So they put out those start times pretty late last night. Once action was completed, so that's the first thing I checked when I woke up this morning. Also, make sure there was no upsets. Hornets owner Michael Jordan engaged, and by the way, GOAT Michael Jordan engaged in serious talks to sell majority stake of the franchise to a group led by Hornets minority owner Gabe Plotkin and Hawks minority owner Rick Schnall. No deal's imminent, but if a sale is completed, Mike is expected to remain with a minority stake in the franchise, and he's been there for a while as the owner, so it's kind of a big story. And because we got to get some Bears news in for Nick.
Oh, thanks.
They are signing former Packers tight end Robert Tonyan.
Yeah.
And former Panthers running back Deontay Foreman to one-year deals.
All right.
That's what $100 million will do for
And
you.
they still got the highest salary cap going right now.
Starting to come together, Pepper.
Hey, did you guys see, as far as the Creighton women's basketball game, their future potential? Again, don't take any opponent for granted, right? It's March Madness, baby. Notre Dame is without Olivia Miles for the rest of the year. That is one of their top-end players. So
I like the Flans to go on another run.
Yeah,
they're playing their best basketball.
March is flantastic, folks. It is flantastic. And so maybe – again, you hate to see that. Obviously, I'm not like, hey, cool, she's injured. But if you're looking for any type of competitive advantage, if you do get to that part of the tournament, keep your eye on that. Notre Dame not at full strength.
I think today's going to be a tough game. So Creighton doesn't have anybody above 6'1". Mississippi State's best player is 6'5". But he and physically, Mississippi State doesn't look like the South Carolina team that Creighton played last year in the Elite Eight. But physically, Mississippi State is built a little bit different. But I don't think they played many teams that can execute like Creighton. I would not want to play the Creighton women if I'm not used to that style, because Creighton's pace is so slow and methodical, and their efficiency is so top-notch, and their volume of three-point shots. They're an odd team how they go about success. I think that's going to be a really, really good matchup. But physically, Mississippi State will have the advantage. But basketball IQ and execution will be on the side of Creighton. I've not looked at the line for that game.
I have not as well.
That game will be over on Coil.
Oh, okay.
And that starts again after the Creighton.
Yeah.
So,
but that'll be
we're good.
You guys ever look at have you ever looked at the president's bracket when he releases it?
When it became a thing, I did. Like, what was it? Obama who was the first one to do it?
Probably when Andy Katz would do a special on ESPN with the president, and they would unveil the bracket.
I think I looked at it maybe, yeah, the first couple years that it was done, and then after a while, I was like, okay, I'm good.
I watched it the first time for like the first 5 minutes, and then Obama made a reference about being a White Sox fan, and I'm like, I'm out. Okay, that's on you for being a fan of the team on the South Side.
Yeah, the wrong team.
But
he's a Bears fan, though.
But President Biden did a bracket. Who do we think? Who do
I saw he had.
Who do you think of the White House actually did the bracket? Because there is no way.
You'll see.
Because there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff going on, so you don't have time to sit down and do a men's and women's bracket.
I'm assuming it's one of the younger interns.
At least,
my guess.
Like Obama, basketball fan, he would do. President Obama would do the bracket. You had a sense that he knew he watched a lot of basketball.
Oh, he'd break it down.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever paid attention to one of the presidents releasing a bracket, but just like you, Arizona broke President Biden's bracket. He had Arizona going, but I think that he, first of all, should be disqualified. They did not tweet out yesterday, because I do follow the president on Twitter.
Oh.
They did not tweet out until the games were underway, his bracket.
Oh, so we don't know if it hit the deadline.
Like if President Biden tried to join the 1620 of the zone bracket, he would have been disqualified.
Yep.
That is the one thing I forgot to do yesterday.
The 1620 the zone one?
And then when I left here, I remembered it. I was like, well, it's too late now.
Jeez. Come on, Jimmy.
Distracted by the heavy snow I drove home in.
Represent. What time did you leave? It was raining when I left.
About noon.
Oh, okay. For you. I see some games.
Picked up some pizza and
that's. I'm gonna guess that it's probably an intern that was filling that out, and they just need you to put your stamp on it.
Josh Lyman.
Can you?
Well, he wasn't an intern.
I don't think the president tweets either.
No, doesn't appear to anyway. But you follow him. I mean, when's the last time he tweeted? That you think would be an authentic Biden tweet?
There's kind of a major thing that's going on this morning in the world affairs. I don't know that he's tweeted about that, but
okay.
Let's see here.
Does he tweet about the weather or anything?
He tweeted about
climate change.
Tweeted about something really, really great about the cost of insulin. There's another company that is going to bring down the cost of insulin, which is a great thing for all Americans. All right, 7:17. Sam Griesel stops by at 8. Mike Schaefer in the next hour as well. Matt Rule, Trev Alberts, Tom Osborne got together.
How about that?
We'll talk about that when we come back. And more on Creighton, North Carolina State. Which Creighton team will show up today? The one that had the winning streak, the one that has, when they're on, best starting five in college basketball, or the team that kind of skittered a little bit in the last half of February and the first part of March, going 500 over 8 games. We'll dive into that and much more. We roll till 10 on this St. Paddy's Day. Happy St. Paddy's Day, everybody that celebrates. Be smart out there, and just remember that you're an amateur and some of us are pros, and we will not be joining you today.
That's true.
1620 the zone. Woodhouse Buick GMC, 119th and I. Now, they are pros that will take care of you. If you're looking for that perfect car, truck, or SUV, either new or new to you, you can find it in climate-controlled indoor showroom. It's got plenty of inventory, including a nice little new addition here or there, maybe a light-duty pickup truck, an Acadia you might find to your liking. Check them out in person, 119th and I, or online, where it is a nice, simple process with a click of a mouse here, click of a mouse there, and you can find the vehicle that is right for you. All of the same inventory in person is online, so they're always updating, so you have the freshest information to make your decision as part of the Woodhouse Auto family. In person, 119th and I. Experience the difference, purchase with confidence at Woodhouse Buick GMC or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Primo next to a couple of bottles of champagne.
Awesome.
Club called Upscale Vibes.
He called them Vibies.
Vibes.
Vibes with a Z.
VIBEZ. It sounds like an off product of some kind of lubricant. Hey, you need a little lubricant? Vibes.
Try Vibes. Just imagining John going up to people, hey, you need a little lubricant?
Unsportsmanlike conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly cloudy and chilly for your St. Patrick's Day with a high today of 33, but still feeling like the lower 20s. Expect breezy winds out of the northwest up to 25 miles an hour with a 20% chance of flurries later this afternoon and evening. No accumulation expected. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, windy, cold, a low of 11, but feeling like -8. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KATV Newswatch 7.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can't expect a significant delay from 96 to 90th along L Street. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for a minor slowdown from 84th to 72nd. And other than that, it looks like your commute this morning should be pretty smooth, even if you're running a bit late. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time, Saving Traffic is brought to you by Prairie Construction.
Are you or someone you know in the commercial construction business and your job's hit a dead end? Are you ready for a new job with a quality construction company? Well, maybe it's time to make that change, and Prairie Construction might be just right for you. Learn about us at prairie-construction.com.
Summer is almost here, and with 31 days in March, you can save $31 every month at Genesis Health Clubs. This offer will not extend. If you don't get started on your fitness goals today, then when? Tomorrow? Next week? Next month? Next year? Life's too short for that. Hi, I'm Rodney Stephen with Genesis Health Clubs, here all month giving you 31 reasons to get started towards your summer fitness goals now. Reason number 17, improves your ability to recover from physical exertion. Reason number 18, gives you more energy to meet the demands of daily life and provides you with a reserve to meet the demands of unexpected emergencies. Reason number 19, improves mental alertness. Reason number 20, reduces your risk of having a stroke. Reason number 21, reduces your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. 31 days in March, 31 reasons to get started today, and $31 to save every month when you get started at Genesis Health Clubs. This offer will not extend. There is no tomorrow for your health. Go to genesishealthclubs.com today to get started.
Do you like to shoot fireworks? Would you like to get paid to shoot fireworks? J&M Displays wants you. Help shoot an Omaha Storm Chasers game, Memorial Park display, or any of the major shows in Western Iowa and all of Nebraska. If you like to travel, J&M covers Nebraska, Kansas, and most of Missouri. They offer free training and great daily pay rates, which makes it a perfect part-time job. Visit jnmdisplays.com and click the Join Our Team tab to find out more. J&M Fireworks.
The Blue Jay Zone is brought to you by Berry Law. We're in it to win it. For the third time since 2011, both Creighton men's and women's basketball teams made the NCAA tournament in the same season back-to-back years. It's a feat just 11 other schools can claim this season, with such notables as Arizona, Baylor, Gonzaga, Texas, and UCLA also on the list. For the Creighton women, the 6th seed in South Bend is the best in program history. Listen for coverage of both Creighton men's and women's basketball in the NCAA tournament on 1620 The Zone and 1180 The Zone.
Winning comes without a guarantee. Focus, discipline, and extraordinary effort make winning more likely. Sometimes our greatest wins come from major setbacks. Coming back from a serious injury is a win that requires teamwork. At Berry Law, we're in it to win it.
If you have been seriously injured in an accident, call Berry Law today. 402-999-7777.
Marvin Windows have a well-earned reputation for long-lasting value and beauty. Karp's Complete Home Exteriors is Omaha's first and only authorized Marvin Windows replacement contractor. Make the best investment for your home. Marvin Windows and Karp's Complete Exteriors.
Check out Kugler Vision's Spring Break Spectacular LASIK savings at KuglerVision.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620.
So while we were cooped up at your favorite place watching basketball yesterday and the weather that we've encountered here in the middle of March in Omaha, which some years we get lucky, other years we get freezing temperatures and snow, I did last night as I was scanning the dial of some of the games, which these 2 days when you have like 4 second halves going on at the same time is unparalleled in sports. The quad box is fantastic. So I'm scrolling through last night. It was the opening night of the SEC for baseball. And I had a hard time because I'm watching the game at Vanderbilt and they ruled Ole Miss. I'm watching Florida and their ballparks are full and the weather is nice. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice to have college baseball, warm weather, and be a big deal where ballparks are full? Remember those days? And then I'm thinking, okay, let me check my email. Oh, Nebraska plays at 1 today in Manhattan. Creighton plays down in Wichita. And we live in the Midwest with college baseball.
And we got snow on the ground.
You think, boy, Nebraska with the weather and anybody else that's been impacted by weather, and all 3 Division I programs have as well. Omaha banged their entire series this weekend, and rightfully so. It's just going to be around here. Is Nebraska going to get to 56 games? Because there's going to be a sense of urgency in trying to rack up some wins of games, midweek games you're going to lose. Like, will Nebraska get to 56 games?
It's going to be a struggle.
Because I think you got to be in the range of 35, 36, 37 wins to be in a discussion.
And because I'm not trying to like play meteorologist here, but it looks like it gets a little bit more tolerable next week, getting into the 50s. And so you can play, obviously, in that. You can play in the 40s, as we've seen, or in the upper 30s. But you also have to worry about the conversation we had yesterday when it comes to a natural surface compared to a turf field, when you do have rain, when you do have an unplayable surface. So, and that's, could be warm and pleasant. You get a storm rolling through and all of a sudden you're unable to complete that game. Yeah. And as you get into conference play, which it's kind of weird, they start conference play next weekend against Illinois at home, which will be
which doesn't feel like it's time for conference play.
Right.
Playing this is week 5 of the college baseball season.
Yeah. And then you step back, and then they have that really odd weekend in Texas, and then they go back into conference play the following week. So once you step into conference play and you've already got those midweek games, I mean, there's really no wiggle room if you're trying to reschedule anything like that. I mean, once this thing is really off and rolling, and you've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday conference series with the occasional, sometimes Tuesday or even Tuesday, Wednesday midweek slate. I mean, you have what you have right now, and so it is going to be a challenge. And you're right when it comes to the Big Ten. The depth of that conference in college baseball. I think there's a certain threshold that you need to find yourself in if you are going to be reasonably looked at when it comes to the NCAA tournament. So yeah, keep your eye on it. It's losing the games yesterday, now having to kind of hopefully get them in today and going forward, whatever the weather does. It's going to be a challenge for sure.
So another thing I watched yesterday is the Ohio State football assistant salaries that were announced. Last year, Ohio State paid $8.8 million to their assistants. This year, they're paying $9.3 million. They have 5 assistants that make over $1 million. Matt Rule's staff, including the strength and conditioning coach, is at 5.97. Last year, Frost's staff was at 5.45. So 5.97 in Lincoln. In Columbus, they're at $9.3 million. I'm sure that'll go over really, really well. But speaking of Matt Rule, if you have time, and I started, Oscar football. They released, like late last night, the chat between Matt Rule, Trev Alberts, and Tom Osborne. And I'm like, I'll save this. I'll bookmark it. I'll go back and watch it. And I started to watch the first part of it. And I'm like, oh, geez, I'm gone down the rabbit hole, and they've got me engaged. I highly recommend it. It is almost an hour long, but Matt Rule, Trev Alberts, and Tom Osborne sat down. TV Trev took over. So TV Trev was at his best.
He's a facilitator.
He dipped back into his days at ESPN and CNNSI. So he is facilitating the conversation. So he's sitting between Rule and Osborne. They won me over because they presented it as a round table. And they actually had a round table. Like, we've done round tables here before, but we do them at a square table. You can't say you're having a roundtable discussion and then do it at a square table because you lose credibility with the audience.
You've already lied to them before you even start.
Like if I say, hey,
you're right.
Hey, we got Rule and we got Osborne and we got, Trev, and they're going to have a roundtable discussion, and you tune in, and right in front of them is a round table. You're like, all right, what's next? You got me.
They've thought of it all.
You didn't lie to me.
Yeah.
It's very enlightening. Again, if Trev ever doesn't want to do this AD thing, he wants to get back into the TV world, he's very, very smooth.
Yes.
So TV Trev is on full display, and you get Matt Rule and Coach Osborne. And, Coach Osborne, who, is mid-80s now, he was pretty good. But it's an interesting look into how two men have gone about building a program and establishing a culture. I highly recommend it. I mean, it's going to just reiterate the point before he ever sets foot on a field to coach Nebraska, and he will at 6 a.m. on Monday with the start of spring practice. At a place like Nebraska, where people that hold that program near and dear, and it is the fiber of this state, to have somebody who gets it goes a long way. And Matt Rule gets what Nebraska football is. And so I highly recommend it, but you got to carve out about an hour because it's about an hour conversation. But I was impressed by TV Trev. Man, he was pretty good. I maybe someday back on the game day set. Maybe.
You see TV Trev in a lot of different instances. I think when he's commanding a room, it's just I know there are people that maybe on the surface appear to be very, very comfortable, and then maybe like underneath the surface, it's the whole duck in the water situation. But I think that's like Trev's. That's his arena right there. But there was something that I want to say that I appreciated T.O. talking about, because we hear this all the time. There's always been some type of sense of approval when it comes to any decisions that are made by a coaching staff that, okay, well, what does T.O. think? Have we heard from T.O. on this? Did we get T.O. to validate that decision or this hire or some other decision impacting football? And I know that he kind of shied away from the, what kind of knowledge or advice would you impart on Matt Rule in this job? And I think Coach Osborne has been pretty consistent with this message. I think it's been more of, a certain section of the fans that need that validation from T.O. But I know he said what I would hope he would have said about it's hard for someone who hasn't been actively coaching for over 20 years to just come in and say, hey, this is what you need to do, and this is how it needs to be done. This is how we used to do it. So if you're not doing it that way, you're doing it the wrong way. Just knowing that he fully supports it. And I think that I think as a fan base, we finally kind of got into that mindset as well of, okay, we don't necessarily need, I'll use Tom Osborne as an example. We don't need him to sign off on everything and make sure that it is exactly what he wants before everything can move forward. We can fully embrace it. And I think there was a little bit of that. I mean, how much did we see a lot of the T.O. Scott Frost interactions when he was coaching it? And people ate that up. They loved it. And well, at first, I should say, some of this, I'll say not everyone, some of the people, I'll say. But then there was a lot of, I think, whether it was forced or that's just how Scott Frost was, was really trying to tap into the T.O. persona and just different things that almost felt kind of manufactured. Matt Rule is not going to do that, but I think there is that perfect balance, and it kind of came out in that roundtable discussion of understanding, and this goes with Trev too, understanding, respecting the traditions and the history of Nebraska football, what it means and what it could still mean for you, but also making sure that you are innovative, that you are moving into the future. And as T.O. talked about, that's how they were able to kind of separate themselves when they really hit it hard in the 90s. Being innovative, being cutting edge when it came to strength and conditioning. And so I always thought that there's this thing of like, well, we got to do what they were doing back then. Well, in a sense, yeah, being innovative, making sure that you are on, the modern practices of college football and how it makes you successful. But I don't know. I appreciated the way T.O. sort of handled that of, what advice would you give you? And he basically said, I wouldn't, because I haven't been coaching for over 20 years. I'll support it. But I can't really give you advice, which I think is the right way to go with that.
Looking at the schedule for the spring, Matt Rule is going to speak. Of the 15 practices, there's only 2 that have no media access. One of them is their monster recruiting day on March 25th. There's no media access. Rule speaks after, so there's 13 practices that are open, at least not open to watch, but post-practice interviews. Rule is available for more than half of those.
Wow.
I don't know that Nebraska's had a coach in a while that has been that accessible to the media.
Nope.
Most aren't.
Nope.
Because they practice from 6 to 8 on Monday, and then Coach Rule and then 3 to 5 players will be available. Like, Rule speaks almost every day.
I feel confident he wants people to know what they're doing to an extent. I think he's very proud of what they're trying to sort of structure with this. And I
he
don't
shows
think
he's
he has,
not hiding anything.
Well, I don't think he has any problem sort of letting you in on how they're going about their business. Now, there's going to be
He's super comfortable talking to the media, that's for sure.
Absolutely is. And again, when I talked about Trev kind of being in his comfort zone, I think that's also Matt Rule's arena. I think he's more than comfortable, and he's more than comfortable revealing the information that he feels maybe the fans want to digest, but also he understands there's a limit to what he's going to let you in on.
John writes into the Equitable Bank inbox, it is way past time to thank Coach Osborne for what he's accomplished and move on from him in any type of decision-making. Morning, John.
Hi, John.
It's in the Equitable Bank inbox.
And T.O., I think, would agree with you because he pretty much said as much.
I don't know they'll ever loosen his grip on that. But I think our grip has loosened on what he thinks.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, that threesome together is pretty enlightening. If you're into culture building and how you go about this process and not skipping steps and how you get prospects to the next level, it's pretty enlightening. It's about an hour long.
You can watch it before the games, after the show. Put it on at 10 o'clock.
No, you got to watch Price is Right because that's like an American tradition.
That's true. Right? Bob Barker used to always lead into Greg Gumbel when I was a kid.
I mean, hot dogs, apple pie, Ford trucks, and watching Price is Right before the NCAA tournament begins.
Ford trucks.
Before Greg Gumbel is on your airwaves with people that don't cover college basketball, but yet Jay Wright is on another network. I don't get it. But that's just me.
Good luck to the Texas Froghorns today.
Watch out. Arizona State, one of those play-in teams.
And they
make
rolled
the round of 32. All right, Sam Griesel's coming up at the top of the hour. Mike Schaefer as well. We get his thoughts. Dylan Raiola has announced that he will be here for the spring game. He'll not only be here for that March 25th weekend, which is next weekend, closed to the media. They're going to blow it out. That's a hell of a list. That is a Mike Riley Calabrasca type list that Matt Rule and his staff have assembled, and they've gone even a little bit more than those Riley weekends that you'd have these super big names that would be on campus. So Schaefer will join us coming up at 8:30. But Dylan Raiola has said he will be there for that next weekend, and he will be back for the Nebraska spring game. He's also going to the Oregon spring game. And he's also going to drive people nuts if you want to continue to have Dylan Raiola discussion. Because I think that's a fair conversation is, you know what, guys, just tell me when he commits.
Yeah.
What else, what new things are you going to tell me?
Yep.
The only thing that is trying to narrow down is how long this is going to go before he makes his decision. If he's going to wait until, be different from the top quarterback who usually, most top quarterbacks are in the fold already. They're February babies or they're early March. This may go a little bit longer. All right, so Schaefer's join us in an hour. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. This March, protect yourself against upsets with Bracket Parlay Insurance only on FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, all customers can get up to $25 back each day if their parlay of 3 legs or more doesn't hit. If you come one short with a parlay, you can turn a small bet into a slam dunk.
And you can look at all those great seeds that are still active right now playing in a big list again today. And with a parlay, you can, again, as Sharpie mentioned, turn that small bet into a slam dunk. And with the cash out, you're calling the shots. You can close out your bet whenever you want before the game is over. Just sign into your FanDuel Sportsbook account. Go to FanDuel.com/zone to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com/zone. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. 21 plus and present in Iowa. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus, bet $25 per day unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
Guys, let's face it, there is a time when you just need to get out of the house, to have your own place, to be with the guys, or just a quiet, relaxing place for yourself. Well, Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge hears you loud and clear. Settle in. Escape to Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge for an incredible selection, plus premium cocktails, a knowledgeable, friendly staff, state-of-the-art humidor, and incredible lounge. Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off I-680 at 48th Street, next to Covey's.
From basketball to volleyball, baseball to softball, soccer, tennis, and so much more, the Creighton sports season is packed with action. The 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law, covers it all. Each week, we visit with Blue Jay athletes and coaches to hear their stories and document their climb through the Big East Conference. The 1620 The Jays podcast drops each Friday morning and is found at 1620thezone.com and all major podcast platforms. Just search 1620 The Jays. Covering all things Creighton Blue Jays, it's the 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law from 1620 The Zone.
Time for an NCAA tournament schedule preview. Coming up today, another 16 first-round games from around the country, including the last of the #1 seeds, Purdue, taking the court. And a historic matchup from Columbus when Michigan State makes its 25th straight appearance under head coach Tom Izzo. The Spartans, a 7 seed, will take on the 10 seed USC. Stay tuned for Westwood One's exclusive coverage of this year's entire NCAA tournament right here.
I switched to Boost Mobile and got a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Want to know the best part?
It was free?
Nope.
The fact that it's on America's largest 5G networks?
Nope. It's the ding.
Oh, yeah. Love the ding.
Right? It's all about the ding. It's the dingarooski, the dingaroner, the ring-a-ding-ding.
Unleash your power to save with Boost. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone when you switch. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power.
And the ding.
Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available everywhere. One device per line. Tax excluded. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Hi again, everybody. Kent Pavelka courtside again, getting ready for another matchup between the Average Roofing Companies and the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Now, I'm not expecting a lot, as the expertise and superior customer service you get when you choose John Higgins Weather Guard for your roofing, siding, and gutters is nothing short of dominating. Now, here, wait a minute here. I got a note. The other roofing company has decided not even to take the court. I get it. Make the right call with John Higgins Weather Guard.
Peerless Energy Systems is Nebraska and Iowa's locally owned and operated authorized solar air compressor distributor. Peerless Energy Systems provides products and solutions for compressed air systems, helping companies in manufacturing, food processing, transportation, auto body repair, car dealers, and more. Driving industry efficiency through service, support, and relationships, let Peerless Energy Systems help you increase efficiency with your compressed air systems today. PeerlessEnergy.com.
It's truck season at Woodhouse Chevy in Missouri Valley with the truck with the strength to take on what's next. The Chevy Silverado. Receive 0% APR for 36 months, plus $1,000 cash allowance and no monthly payments for 90 days on the 2022 Chevy Silverado 1500. Or lease a 2022 Silverado 1500 for anywhere this year in a new Chevy and find new roads to Woodhouse Chevy. Exit 75 off I-29 Missouri Valley or WoodhouseGM.com. With approved credit, see dealer for details. Expires 3/31/23.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit.
So you take a little bit off the sides. What, still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. Air filters, brakes, headlights, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, St. Patty's Day to all that celebrate. Good luck. We have a correspondent in the field that says the bars in Omaha better be ready for what is about to hit them today. I would estimate the traffic on my way to work this morning was about 20% of normal. Apparently, a lot of people ready to drink green beer and watch basketball.
And not when I was driving.
Whoa, 20% of normal? That's it? Really?
You also have pretty good breakfast, I would imagine, too, to get you started. Good meal.
Yeah, you got to build a base. You're going to do this all day. There is strategy, folks. That's why we talk about the pros versus the amateurs. You don't put a lot of that thought into it.
When you said Vers gets the Pedialyte for opening day of Wrigley, that's a pro move right there.
Mm-hmm. I've tried the Pedialyte thing. I can't do it.
In college, 6 o'clock first football game, you had to. You'd spot the freshman right away getting carried out of the stadium.
It's something about that taste. I can't do it.
I'm good. Justin on the on TV. Happy Friday and Green Beer Day. Well, happy Friday and Green Beer Day to Justin as well. 3 o'clock today, North Carolina State and Creighton. Corey Smith will join us in about 90 minutes with the North Carolina State perspective. Sam Griesel stops by at the top of the hour. Coaching matters this time of the year. I think we're all in agreement with that, right?
Yes,
absolutely.
So there's a worry. You kind of danced around with Howard yesterday, but the starting five, and then, KU actually gets less production than Creighton does out of their bench. So we're the time of the year where you ride the starting five. And so KU rides the starting five, and all are in double figures.
No Remy this year.
And they scored 96 yesterday, but they need Bill Self tomorrow.
Yeah.
They need Bill Self against Arkansas. So Bill Self is the best big game coach in college basketball, in my opinion. He makes a difference. Not taking anything away from Norm Roberts, but there's just something about the experience of Bill Self and in-game stuff, whether it be a substitution or a play call or in timeouts, that Bill Self has a distinct advantage compared to most coaches in college basketball.
Yeah.
He's facing a team in Arkansas who knocked out Illinois yesterday, and what an interesting year for Illinois. They were just kind of meh. Illinois was just there. They never got any traction.
Yeah, they underachieved.
But Arkansas, they create havoc. That game was kind of times tough to watch. You didn't know if you had to remind Musselman and Underwood the whole goal is to put the ball in the basket. That's how you win basketball games. But Arkansas, the one thing that worries me about tomorrow, and KU already knew that playing Arkansas, if that was the team they were going to play, is going to be tough because Arkansas's got, a load of talent. Eric Musselman is one of those great turnaround coaches, short turnaround in the tournament. He's got a nice little track record in the tournament. I mean, he's got, in the last 6 years, he's got 9 tournament wins. Tony Bennett has 6 tournament wins, and all of those happened in 1 year that they won the national championship. Musselman is a good short turnaround coach. That would worry me if you don't have that guy on the other sidelines to match him. That is a game tomorrow at 4:15 in Des Moines to watch. The other part of coaching that matters, and this time of the year where we've discussed it a lot this week, about big jobs that are open. So last night, Penn State beats the brakes off of Texas A&M. I mean, beat the brakes off of them. They looked exceptionally good. Funk was funky. He had 7 threes, and Penn State didn't mess around. Okay? They should not be a 10 seed. They got a 10 seed because they had a late run and they were playing on the weekend, and the committee's like, well, we'll slot them right here. All right. Duke, better than a 5 seed. That's pretty clear in their throttling of Oral Roberts. But I would hope that after watching this run of Penn State has a lot of money, right? They got a lot of football money.
Yeah.
They got TV money. They're in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
If you think that basketball is a big deal, and people wonder at Penn State,
do they care?
Where does basketball rank? Because football is number one.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling ain't bad. Wrestling's in first place again, and they might win a national title. Hockey, which is funded by the Pagulas, is right up there. But men's basketball got to be 3. I mean, you might even make a case that volleyball gets more run than men's basketball.
I was just going to say volleyball.
So you finally got a head coach that has turned things around. I mean, they're playing on Saturday. They're playing against Texas.
They could win on Saturday.
A lot of noise about Shrewsbury to Georgetown, Shrewsbury to Notre Dame, Shrewsbury to wherever they have an opening. Man, if Penn State ever wanted to make a statement about their basketball program, they would reach into the piggy bank and break it wide open and say, Micah, whatever you want, because we finally, like Mizzou hit a home run with Dennis Gates, that one hire that can change everything. Penn State finally got a guy that they believe is not just a flash in the pan, that can build a program. He already is a really good recruiter. He can elevate players. And I would go all in on paying him to stay. And if they do, that's kind of scary in the Big Ten, because all of a sudden a school that is on that part of the country, in the Eastern Seaboard, not very far from Philadelphia, in an area that produces a lot of really good basketball talent, if they step up and spend money, watch out, Big Ten. I hope Penn State does that for the sake of Micah Shrewsbury and their fans, because if they let him get away to like a Notre Dame,
they'll go back to being Penn State basketball.
I'll be like, well, when does spring football start, James?
Yeah. And that's where the Bryce Jordan Center becomes sleepy and stays sleepy.
And that's what I always think when Nebraska went there and you guys were talking about it that week.
Bring your own energy.
Yeah, it's going to be a sleepy environment, and it's always been that way. So this is the line in the sand. What are you going to be? Are you serious? Are you going to be all in?
And the momentum of what you gain from just winning a game in the NCAA tournament. And look, we all understand that Penn State probably was underseeded. We understand that they were a team that a 10 over a 7 like that, it's not this monumental upset, but you did take down convincingly a Texas A&M team, and you have a shot. I mean, can you imagine if they were to pull off an upset against Texas and they make the Sweet 16? But even if that doesn't happen, a lot of positive publicity about this team and Micah Shrewsbury and this team that can just hit you from any part of the court. Like, there's a lot of good conversations that I feel like you can capitalize off of if you want to put a real strong emphasis on your basketball program and you want to send that message that, we do take basketball very serious. Yeah, I think you do obviously open the piggy bank for Micah Shrewsbury, but also you have to capitalize on the momentum of just what one win in the NCAA tournament can do for you.
If they win Saturday.
Hey, you guys brought up Texas. So Rodney Terry, Texas beat Colgate, or as Jimmy liked to refer to him, toothpaste. And they beat him pretty handily. I mean, the 3-ball is a game changer. You make or miss, but with a 3-ball, it can definitely blow open games or give you a shot. Rodney Terry's now 20-7. You guys think that Rodney Terry at Texas, who took over when, Chris Baird,
whatever happened,
that Rodney Terry is getting the Ed Orgeron treatment?
Yes. Yes.
That we are a major player. LSU went all in on Ed Orgeron, and it didn't last very long. And Texas can't afford in 2 years to be looking for another men's basketball coach if they go down this road. I think he is getting the Ed Orgeron treatment.
I think that's a pretty good example. It's a pretty good comparison. Because
they're very reluctant.
Yeah, and that's a team.
There's 20-7.
That Texas
20-7. A lot of people in your brackets probably had Texas winning the national championship or in the Final Four or at least playing Houston.
Right.
Yeah.
That team is
they looked good last weekend.
Juggernaut, and they're playing good basketball right now. And so at some point you got to ask, what's the reluctance here? Why are we waiting on this?
Got a great crew of assistants, some guys that were there before, guys with head coaching experience. They got a good thing going.
But I can understand that. I what you just laid out there, I can understand athletic department and administration a little hesitant making sure that they're not doing this in 2 years? Have you just been able to sort of push the right buttons with this team that was obviously very vulnerable when what went down with Chris Beard takes place? Not everybody can sort of step in and lead, and whether it's just keeping the car on the interstate or not, it's hard for me to say that you would be able to find a slam dunk elsewhere right now. And you have to look at what this team is going to look like next year. You have to look at, is there going to be continuity? And is a big part of that with Terry sticking around. So it's not an easy decision. I don't envy it, but I do think that the more this sort of drags on and there's no announcement, I get the feeling that they are looking for Mr. Outside Hire right now.
Yeah, Rodney Terry doesn't strike me as a Texas coach. They like the sexy. Rodney Terry is just like the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, they want the guy that's going to get the donors to fork it over.
The sizzle.
Rodney Terry will have a job.
20-7.
Yeah, he's gonna be a head coach somewhere.
No, they'll get a damn good coach, whoever gets him.
All right, Sam Griesel is coming up next. Mike Schaefer as well on this green edition of Mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone. All right, it is all basketball, but you know what? That big event that goes on in June downtown at the Chuck, that's going to be here before you know it. And my friends at ticketsforless.com want to hook you up. They've got a great partnership with the Old Mattress Factory, the ultimate tailgate coming up during the College World Series, pregame buffet, all you can eat, as well as the location right around the corner from the Chuck. For more information, go to the website, ticketsforless.com. Or you're thinking, man, all right, KU plays late afternoon. I'm going over to Des Moines. Go to ticketsforless.com right now. They've got a great selection and never any per-ticket fees at ticketsforless.com on college basketball tickets. Shows, sports, find my friends at ticketsforless.com.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can't expect a significant delay from 96 to 90th along L Street. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for a minor slowdown from 84th to 72nd. And other than that, it looks like your commute this morning should be pretty smooth, even if you're running a bit late. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. Time-Saving Traffic is brought to you by Millard H&R Block.
This Saturday from 10 to noon, bring your personal documents to the Millard H&R Block and have them shredded safely and securely for free. That's this Saturday from 10 to noon. Meet the tax pros and shred for free at the Millard H&R Block, 156th and Q Street.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Handley at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Say goodbye to ordinary home shows. The Omaha Lifestyle and Home Expo features smart technology and thousands of dollars in giveaways like gas fireplaces, pellet smoker, and electronics. Lots of activities for the kids, including a St. Patrick's Day treasure hunt. Plus, catch all the NCAA tournament action in the new Expo Lounge. Free admission for veterans and active military. Made available by Rotor Mortuaries. This weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Omaha Lifestyle and Home Expo at the CHI Health Center. Presented by Cox Communications.
Creighton coverage on the Zone is presented by Barry Law. At Barry Law, we fight alongside those who choose to fight back. Call Barry Law at 402-999-7777 or visit BarryLawFirm.com. At Barry Law, we're in it to win it.
Hi again, everybody. Kent Pavelka courtside with another matchup between the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard and the other average roofing companies. Now, quite frankly, this matchup is embarrassing. The expertise and superior service you get when you choose John Higgins Weather Guard for your roof, siding, and gutters is nothing short of dominating. Now, here's the deal. I've never seen this before, but every one of the other average roofers has fouled out. They're done. Don't foul out, folks. Make the right call with John Higgins Weather Guard.
Summer is almost here, and with 31 days in March, you can save $31 every month at Genesis Health Clubs. This offer will not extend. If you don't get started on your fitness goals today, then when? Tomorrow? Next week? Next month? Next year? Life's too short for that. Hi, I'm Rodney Stephen with Genesis Health Clubs, here all month giving you 31 reasons to get started toward your summer fitness goals now. Reason number 17, improves your ability to recover from physical exertion. Reason number 18, gives you more energy to meet the demands of daily life and provides you with the reserves to meet the demands of unexpected emergencies. Reason number 19, improves mental alertness. Reason number 20, reduces your risk of having a stroke. Reason number 21, reduces your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. 31 days in March, 31 reasons to get started today, and $31 to save every month when you get started at Genesis Health Clubs. This offer will not extend. There is no tomorrow for your health. Go to genesishealthclubs.com today to get started.
Creighton baseball is back on the radio this season. I'm John Bishop. Check out the complete schedule of broadcast games on 1620thezone.com and gocreighton.com. Baseball on the radio. The Creighton Blue Jays on 1180 The Zone and 1620 The Zone.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts. Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Halftime brought to you by Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge. Just off 680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's is Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge.
All right, great way to kick off this hour. We welcome in the pride of Lincoln East, former Bison Husker, Sam Griesel. Good morning, Sam. How are you?
Morning. I'm fantastic. How are you?
Good. Hey, thanks for getting up this early. Or maybe you're just preparing your St. Patty's Day. Do you celebrate St. Patrick's Day?
There might be a little bit of a celebration. We'll see. But I'm actually on my way to do. I'm gonna go hang out at an elementary school for my morning. So I'm on my way over there right now.
Hey, stop. You got to stop being like a plus dude.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, I remember when I talked to you when you were moving down from Fargo and how excited you were to come back to your hometown and the opportunity to play at Nebraska, which you grew up as a fan. And we saw from the time you walked on campus to, I mean, forever now, how much Nebraska means to you. And you're everywhere. You're living the life of a college kid that got the opportunity to play basketball at Nebraska and also is from Lincoln. Is it too easy to say right now you're living your best life? Because you're everywhere. People love you. You're doing so many things on and off the floor. I mean, what's it like right now to be back in this past year?
I mean, it is. I think it's a good way to put it that I'm living my best life, I guess. But to me, the reason I want to be like so active in the community and stuff is, you know, Lincoln, Nebraska built me, and it's obviously this community is why I'm here today and why I've been able to live out my dream and be able to do the things I do on a daily basis. And I don't take that for granted. I think it's really important to never forget where you came from and just remembering myself as an elementary school age kid or whatever, middle school maybe. And if I hadn't like a Nebraska basketball player in my class talking to me, I mean, I think I would have brought it up to the teacher every single day to bring that person back for the rest of the year. So just having that in mind and thinking back to then and trying to remember how I felt and make those kids proud of who was representing them and also hopefully maybe giving them some inspiration that they can do what I'm doing and they can reach this level as well.
Sam, as Sharpie mentioned, your trek back to Lincoln this year, you obviously envisioned what it could be like and what experiencing some big games at Pinnacle Bank Arena, going on the road in some big, major Big Ten environments as well. And we saw that natural joy from you wearing that uniform, whether it was the victory over Creighton or the come from behind victory over Wisconsin. Based on what you sort of envisioned and what actually played out, I mean, were they pretty close, or was it even more than you could have imagined?
Oh gosh, it was more than I imagined. Obviously, my goal in coming back to Nebraska was a lot of it was about the culture, right? And I wanted to feel like I had an impact on the culture and just trying to take it day by day and be a good person and affect the culture in a positive way, while also winning some basketball games. And you know, I'm Nebraska, especially with specific teams.
Yep.
And to obviously get the one at Creighton and then beat Iowa twice and come back from behind against Wisconsin. I mean, it's special for a Nebraska fan because, you know, I was a Nebraska fan. I will be a Nebraska fan for the rest of my life. And getting those wins for them was really special. But I didn't really think it would ever be like, and I mean this in a humble way. Like I did not think that I would have issues getting to places with people without people noticing me. Like I get noticed pretty much everywhere. And it's an interesting change, I guess. It's really, really cool. But yeah, it's I didn't really think that it would get to that point, but it's cool.
Well, you are a celebrity, and by the way, kudos to you because I've seen you outside of wearing a Nebraska uniform. Your interaction with young people is amazing, Sam. That's a tribute to you and how you were raised. But you never turn down an autograph, and it's not like you just sign and send the kid on his way. You like to have some interaction. So I think for everybody out there that's got kids that come up to you and ask for an autograph, they can appreciate, and that's a lot on you. I want to go back to something, and it's kind of your culture, but the Nebraska basketball culture that you referenced, and you've been asked about this you were asked about it throughout the entire year, and you commented on it. Can you put into words where you thought the culture of Nebraska basketball was when you showed up last late spring, early summer to where you left it? And I know last week in Chicago was not easy at all, and you'd love to be playing basketball right now instead of headed to an elementary school. But what's the change in the locker room from Nebraska basketball when you arrived to now when you depart?
I would say just, I mean, obviously I didn't really get to experience any of the years firsthand, the past few years, you know. I was just watching at a distance and stuff, but I would just say like a collective buy-in and a genuine, like, I think when in a team setting, when you do whatever you can for others to succeed, that's when you yourself personally will succeed. And I think we saw that this year. And obviously we had some injuries that really sucked. And, you know, obviously a lot of people said, oh, this season is absolutely done, stuff like that. But just the buy-in that we had from the group and the trust that we had in each other. Obviously we went through a lot of adversity, and I think that builds character. And obviously we saw that with our little run there in February, and a collective buy-in and a genuine want to win, no matter what your stats may look like at the end of the game. All we cared about was the letter being a W at the end of the day.
Sam, how best can you describe your relationship from the time you got to campus to that final game in the Big Ten tournament with Derek Walker?
Me and Derek have an awesome relationship. It's he gets very fiery and competitive and angry, I guess is also maybe a word, during games and stuff. And I kind of hold my hat on being, you know, a very emotionally stable person and basketball player. And so I would get yelled at sometimes, and I would always try to keep him kind of even keel. And sometimes, you know, his drive and fire just would kind of take over, and he would yell at me, and I would be like, all right, I'll just back away for a minute and I'll come back later. And then like after the game, he's such a caring person, which is funny that he kind of acts like that during games, because after games, he would come up to me and apologize like 10 times. Like, dude, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, you know what? I know you by now, D-Walk. It's all good. But yeah, I mean, I felt like we grew. First of all, this summer we built a really good just off the floor connection. Obviously, I wasn't playing at all; I was still injured. But I felt like each game this season we grew together because we knew that we were the leaders and that especially the young guys were looking up to us, and we accepted that role and kind of grew together, which was cool.
Hey, what was the discussion like when you lose Gary and Vandermill? You just kind of referenced it, and everybody hopped on board and enjoyed the run in February. But what happened when Sam? When those two guys go down, Nebraska basketball is supposed to go down as well. You guys got better. Why?
Again, it's just I talked about a lot this year with this group. It was just all the resiliency that this group collectively had. We knew at the beginning of the year that not many people thought we were going to have a successful season, and we didn't care then. And when people counted us out, when two of our best players went down, we didn't care then either. It was kind of a next man up mentality, and Coach Hoiberg was really, really good at making sure that we had that mentality. And obviously, it took us a few games to kind of get our new roles, I guess, if you will. And then obviously the rise of Casey playing the way he did at the end of the year was awesome. And then one thing in particular that I've mentioned in the media, but Emmanuel, after I think it was either the Illinois game at home or the Northwestern game, he was already injured, had surgery, and he came up after the game because we were really pissed off. We didn't play well in front of our home fans, and he came, and after Coach Hoiberg was done, he talked to the team for probably close to 10 minutes, and he got pretty emotional and kind of, gave his 2 cents on how we were playing and stuff. And I think that honestly was kind of the turning point. It was one of the best speeches that I've ever heard.
Wow.
And that was a big turning point for us because it kind of put everything into perspective. Like, man, this Emmanuel came here for 1 year for his last year of college basketball, and it's taken from him by something that he can't control. So maybe let's play for him. Let's, if we're complaining about practicing every day, let's think about him and Juwan and the fact that they can't get out there, and they would love to because of how hard they play. So that was a big turning point for us, I think.
Sam Greasel joining us here on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. You referenced Casey. Sam, what do you think are some of the factors that he's weighing on if he returns to Lincoln or moves on with his basketball career?
Yeah. I mean, obviously professional basketball opportunities, I think, is kind of the big one, and the obvious one. I mean, I guess also, who Coach Hoiberg and the staff decides to bring in. Obviously, it's going to be a new team again next year. So just believing in that. And I've had some good conversations with Casey. I'm not going to say a whole lot there, but I know whatever decision he decides to make, Casey is going to be Casey, no matter where he's at in the world. That's the best thing about him. He's just like the most wholesome yet cocky dude that you've ever met in your life, and it's just like the perfect combination. And I love playing with him.
Can you give us an indication of how much trash talk he does on the floor?
With me personally, me and Casey had a great relationship. There wasn't really any trash talking with me and him. We just loved playing together. But wow, you get with Oleg and Derek. I mean, it was literally every single day.
Oleg?
Casey would go out those two. Yeah. Oh, Oleg was a big one.
Wow.
Those two, it was every single day. And with Derek too. Derek and Casey were hilarious all year. And it just, apparently Casey didn't really have the relationship that he had with Derek and Oleg like he did this year, last year. It wasn't even close. Everyone that came back was saying that. But it was funny. They would literally just talk smack to each other. And it was kind of a triangle. All three of them would do it to each other, but it was entertaining. I'm glad I wasn't a part of it.
Well, and I'm glad you're kind of shedding a little light on it because it's interesting. We'd see Kay say, he'll ham it up after a big shot. He'll get into it with the crowd, and sometimes it rubs the other team the wrong way. But then when you sort of see him away from it, and any sort of limited interaction, he's very soft spoken. Is that more of how he is amongst you guys, or do you see like Casey sort of letting loose at all? Like what is kind of that personality amongst all you guys that we don't get a chance to see?
I mean, there's definitely a little bit of both.
Okay.
He has his moments where he'll let loose, and when he's playing pool with Oleg, that's probably where the most trash talk is. We have a pool table in our locker room, and those two, I mean, it's a daily thing that they would play, and that's probably where the most trash talking is. But then he's also, like you said, like a very just nice kid.
Yeah.
And like I said, just wholesome is the way I would describe him. And then getting to meet his parents, obviously they didn't really speak a whole lot of English, but you could just tell the genuine like happiness and excitement they had for K-State being here, and for themselves getting the chance to watch him in person and be here. There wasn't a lot of communication that I had with them, but there didn't really need to be. It was all nonverbal, and I just felt like I was loved just by the way that they reacted when they saw me and stuff, which was so cool.
Did you do a double take though when you looked at dad and then looked at son and then looked back at dad? On one 6'11" and the other 6'1"?
100%. I remember we were warming up and I looked over there, and I had heard when his dad was coming over that Casey's dad was tall. So I looked over there and I was like, okay, that's got to be him. So I like looked at him and I kind of started to laugh, and then I don't know if it was Casey, but I went over and asked them if that was him, and they were like, yep. I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. And then Casey's mom is so short. It's
right.
Like, I don't know how this works, but that is so
awesome. Sam, I do want to ask you about some of the guys that obviously could be a big part of this team next year as well, and you got to see him develop playing alongside him too, and Jamarcus Lawrence. And that's a guy that a lot of people are kind of talking about alongside Casey, depending on his future. What have you kind of taken away from Jamarcus as a teammate and what he could ultimately be, especially given your college basketball experience?
Yeah. The word that comes to mind for Jamarcus is just coachable. He's extremely coachable. Whether it was me or Emmanuel or obviously our coaching staff, he was always so willing to learn and apply what he was being taught. And no matter what it looked like, he was going to try to do that. And again, like I talked about earlier, didn't care about stats and stuff like that. He just wanted to win. And as a freshman, he showed already some really great leadership qualities. And I think Jamarcus has a chance to be a great, great player here. And I cannot wait to watch the rest of his career. He's a great kid, got a great head on his shoulders. And I do know, it became pretty public this year with the whole sip-off before tip-off thing with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And they would do it on the road too. And for a lot of the East Coast schools, Jamarcus's family would be there, and they absolutely loved them. They had a great time with Jamarcus's family. So he's got a great family, and like I said, I'm so excited for his future. Obviously, he has so much potential. We can see his talent, and I can't wait to watch the rise of him.
Hey, you are one of the best ambassadors this program has had in a long time. Are you also
Thank you. I appreciate that.
are you also open to recruiting people to Nebraska?
Yeah.
Have you done that already?
Maybe.
Okay, that's fair. I had to ask. I had to ask. So that's fair. We'll get you out here on this, and you know what? I mean, you and I've known each other for a while from the time at Lincoln East to North Dakota State, and we share a common friend. I've gotten my first year around Coach Brown at Omaha, and Cayenne Brown is one of the. I mean, he's one of the great people. And getting to know your parents. And man, I'm happy for you because I didn't know if we'd get to this point because, death crossed your mind. Everybody knows the story there. But getting to meet your parents. And I know that you're eventually going to have to go back and play basketball, and you might be hanging out with, Rocky Cruiser, I think is in Germany, a good friend of yours. And you may be playing in Germany or in, here in this country next year. But when you sit down, what game, you reference 4 of them, but I want you to cut it down, Sam, to one game. What is one game a year from now when you look back and go, man, that is one of the best times I had at Nebraska because of the atmosphere, what was on the line, the way you guys played, and the result and the memory of what the locker room was like afterwards?
Creighton is is my number one answer for sure. What it means, obvious't, for this whole fan base to get that one on the road, and it was a sellout crowd, and it felt like the crowd never really got into it. They never had a chance to, because we would shut the faucet off, if you will, very quick when Creighton would hit a few shots in a row. So they never really went on a run. So it felt like we were in control of the whole game. Obviously, I've played one of the best games that I've played in my career, and that's definitely a game that I will remember. But I will say, for atmosphere, I didn't mention this earlier, but I think the Maryland game at home.
Oh yeah, on that Sunday.
That atmosphere was I was in awe. Like, I couldn't stop smiling the whole game, just because I remember going out there after a timeout in the second half, and I was just walking out there, and there was a Go Big Red chant, and the whole arena was doing it. And it was like, what am I doing here right now? Like, this is the coolest thing that, like, this is why I came back here. This is what I dreamt of. And to be able to live that out, and just know how much hard work and all the people that have been in my life, for me to get to this point, it was a really cool full circle moment for me.
Hey, I appreciate it, my man. We there's a lot of people that say thank you, and the outpouring of love in your home city and around the state. So I appreciate your time. And now, what are you going to the elementary school to do? Read books? Play basketball?
I'm going to Lincoln Christian right now, and I've been pretty good friends with a lot of, I've gotten to know a lot of people at Lincoln Christian now. I never went to Lincoln Christian, but we have good family friends here. So I would try to come here, I don't know, once every 2 to 3 weeks. But today is like it's a grandparents and friends day. So basically, if the grandparents can't come, they invite a friend.
Wow.
And so my dad and I got invited by a little third grader. So we're going to go spend the morning with him, do some fun activities, interact with the kids, and have a good time.
My man.
I hope my son takes a lot from you, my man. That's awesome.
I appreciate that.
Sam, I appreciate it. Keep us updated on your future, all right?
Thank you so much.
That's Sam Griesel.
You just kind of feel like a better person having listened to him.
That's exactly what I thought.
Like, I seriously, and I know, like, when my wife takes my son to daycare, they tune into the show, and I think they are probably already there. Maybe didn't get a chance to hear, but I would love for my son.
It'll be our top play today.
Yeah. I would love for my son to.
Even if Shafe says Dylan Rayola is coming.
If you could just take a little bit of what Sam is about. And I know a lot of that stuff from student athletes, sometimes you're able to, be very good about your message, and you talk and you don't maybe necessarily practice it. I mean, there's nothing disingenuous about Sam Griesel. It's just, when you have the genuine article, and that's talk about replacing something big next year. That's a big one right there.
That's a good dude.
Yeah.
I'm said ambassador.
I will tell you.
And by the way, the little pause, he's recruiting.
Oh yeah. I will tell you, I told you this off the air before, Gary. When he was at North Dakota State, they played at KU December 2020, and because of the COVID, they asked me to call that game. Not because anyone was sick, but because football had a game moved to Lubbock that day. So the opponent was NDSU. It was very weird. It was if that friends and family crowd at Allen Fieldhouse, and he and his team were so likable, and that they played so hard and played the right way, that it would be hard, unless you were obviously affiliated with Kansas, to not root for them. And so after that game, which they should have won, but Kansas pulled it out at the very end. Creighton was actually their next opponent a couple days later. A weird 4:30 game. But after that, I followed them and his career, because they just made such an impression in how they played and how he played. So obviously, when he came home to go to Nebraska, even more so. And then setting this up yesterday, and you said he's a great kid, and that's an understatement.
That's good stuff. That'll be up on the radio replay page. 24 past the hour. Mike Schaefer. Good luck. That's a tough interview to follow. Reminder that Creighton and North Carolina State is here on the Zone at 3. The women's game for Creighton against Mississippi State, that'll be over on Coil. the voice of Creighton women's basketball on the road, Glenn Sisk. I think we'll be doing the game.
Yep.
That's a 6 versus a 11. So Creighton is 2 6 seeds. Our coverage will begin at 1 today with Ravi on Blue Jay shoot around. And of course, Jimmy will have the post game show as well. We'll get an update from our Jimmy and Mike Schaefer. Next hour, Corey Smith will stop by on North Carolina State. We'll break down the matchup this afternoon between the Jays and the Wolfpack. And also, it's Fridays with Matt Verzel on 1620 The Zone.
How you going to spend your weekend? Well, Woodhouse Mazda's got exciting news to get you fired up about your next vehicle, and that is coming soon to Woodhouse Place Mazda. And Woodhouse Mazda would be the first to experience Mazda's flagship 3-row SUV, which is carefully crafted to exhilarate through a combination of design, technology, and performance. As they launch the first ever Mazda CX-90, I have seen this thing for months, and it's going to be here soon. It is awesome looking. Introduces their first ever nationally available plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. It's a vehicle that is going to meet your everyday. It's got great cargo space, under cargo storage area, and it also will be boasting Mazda's most powerful engine to date with the Mazda CX-90. And as with every Mazda SUV, you'll enjoy the latest in technology and safety features, including all-wheel drive, Mazda radar cruise control with stop and go, rear traffic cross alert, just to name a few. Learn more about the first ever 2024 Mazda CX-90 online at WoodhouseMazda.com or WoodhousePlaceMazda.com. Chat with a sales team member online and easily schedule a test drive, check vehicle availability, and more. Woodhouse Mazda, drive worth experiencing.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
Are you interested in any Keisei Tomanagua? We're making a product out of it. It's water bottles, and it's Keisei Tomanagua.
Keisei Tomanagua Fina?
Exactly. You seem like you want to invest.
I think that you're onto something here that could take off.
We just need a retweet from Steph Curry.
Yeah, you could get Steph, like, whenever I'm thirsty, I grab a bottle of ice cold Keisei Tomanagua. The commercials write themselves at this point.
The Connor Happer Show, weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly cloudy and chilly for your St. Patrick's Day with a high today of 33, but still feeling like the lower 20s. Expect breezy winds out of the northwest up to 25 miles an hour with a 20% chance of flurries later this afternoon and evening. No accumulation expected. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, windy, cold, a low of 11, but feeling like -8. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a significant delay from 192nd to 175th on Center. Then on Highway 370, be prepared for some minor slowdowns from the I-80 East ramp all the way to 90th Street. Then on Dodge, it looks like things are slowing down quite a bit from 84th to 75th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
Does great pay, fully funded medical benefits, and a solid retirement sound good to you? IBEW has immediate openings for residential electricians. Invest in yourself with IBEW Local 22. Call John at 402-973-0613.
Do you like to shoot fireworks? Would you like to get paid to shoot fireworks? J&M Displays wants you. Help shoot an Omaha Storm Chasers game, Memorial Park display, or any of the major shows in Western Iowa and all of Nebraska. If you like to travel, J&M covers Nebraska, Kansas, and most of Missouri. They offer free training and great daily pay rates, which makes it a perfect part-time job. Visit jnmdisplays.com and click the Join Our Team tab to find out more. J&M Fireworks.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. What, still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. Air filters, brakes, headlights, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Shingles add beauty and protection to your home. You want the best for long-lasting value. You want CertainTeed shingles, and you want an experienced company to do the job right. You want Carp's complete home exteriors. Local, reputable, the best. It's Carp's.
Take as little as 3 minutes to see if you could save on motorcycle insurance with Progressive. Come on, you've spent more time than that thinking about helmets with faces on them.
I should get a new helmet. Ooh, maybe I'll get one of those ones that looks like a face with painted teeth and eyebrows, you know? Oh, that always looks so cool. People are like, whoa, is that a person with two faces? Oh, no, it's a helmet and one face.
Get a quote in as little as 3 minutes at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
The Omaha Lifestyle and Home Expo, March 17th through March 19th at the CHI Health Center.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, all of our establishments out there that may be playing this song, other Irish music today.
Yeah.
When you have basketball going on.
Sun's out again.
Another correspondent has said he thinks that the afternoon is going to be a gong show in this town. Because he said, on my drive into work today, he thought it was COVID again. There's not a lot of traffic on the roadways.
Yeah, that means everybody's resting up for a big one. This is what happens when you get St. Patrick's Day on Friday.
We had normal traffic when I came in, but that's because the people coming in at that point have to go for whatever reason it is. But when you get to the 8 o'clock portion,
right,
a lot of people planned accordingly, or people that are going in that early are like, I'm going to get whatever I have to get done, and on with my day.
A couple of interesting games today that are big seeds, like a 4 versus 13. You got UConn and Iona. You got the advantage in the size of UConn, but you have the distinctive advantage of Rick Pitino against Danny Hurley. You got Providence, Kentucky. Kentucky hasn't won an NCAA game since 2019. And then you got the feisty Kent State Golden Flashes against Indiana. Antonio Gates. Yeah, Antonio Gates is playing today for Kent State. And then Creighton and North Carolina State coming up at 3. Mike Schaefer in a little bit, but let's get an update on everything that's going on. Basketball and more with Jimmy.
Yeah, a lot of things going on today. You talked earlier about spring training. It is a big day. People forget that, like Nick's green Cleveland hat.
Yeah.
Well, you see a lot of green stuff today. And if you're watching spring training baseball, if you want to get a little bit of warmth, other baseball, Nebraska baseball's series opener with Nichols in Manhattan was canceled yesterday because it wouldn't stop raining in Manhattan. And in fact, they had snow last night. The sun's out. It's cold. They're going to do a doubleheader today. It'll begin at 1 o'clock. At the Toynton Family Stadium, and I'm sure they're getting started with some varsity donuts to get ready to go. It's pretty good, Nick. Never had it.
It's a donut.
It's
a donut.
It's a good donut. Creighton baseball series with Wichita State was moved and shortened to 2 games at X Stadium in Wichita. Those games will be tomorrow at 1 and Sunday at noon. Be like the old days. Omaha baseball series with Valpo canceled. There will not be a makeup series. Their next series will be next weekend against North Dakota State. Speaking of Sam Griesel, that'll start Friday at 5:30 at Tal Anderson. Weather's supposed to be a lot better next week. Not going to be tropical, but it's not going to be like this either. 5 Huskers advanced to the NCAA championship quarterfinals after claiming victories in their respective second-round matches yesterday evening. 7 qualifying Nebraska wrestlers remain alive, as the team ended the first day in 6th with 15.5 points. Pretty good first day in Tulsa. Some of your winners at 125, Liam Cronin at 141, Brock Hardy, and Peyton Robb at 157. He was the 3rd straight Husker to advance. He dominated his match against Garrett Modell, who was ranked number 19. At 174, Mickey Labriola moves on to the quarterfinals. Hard-fought decision over Demetrius Romero. And in the rematch of this year's Big Ten championships, Silas Allred repeated as victor over Penn State's Max Dean.
That's the second time that he has beaten him this year.
Yeah.
In a month,
that's
right?
That's the defending national champion.
Yeah.
Peyton Robb was a dude yesterday as well. The first day of the NCAA wrestling is insane. You have 330 qualifiers, and they also all wrestle at least twice. That is an insane first day of the NCAA wrestling tournament.
Like the All Valley Karate Championships. I mean, it's a whole day of stuff. And I agree with what
you go from
said
one match to
yesterday.
the next match. You got to be paying attention to the announcer, what mat you're supposed to be on.
Hey, I agree with what you said yesterday, though. I am surprised that it's not come back to Omaha.
Yeah, I now have a little background on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
The local wrestling people and the people that run a building don't necessarily agree on the value.
Oh.
Say no more. Tells it all.
We got one of those contests going on. Okay.
NFL Pats agree with Dolphins tight end Mike Gesicki. There's the big signing. They got it.
Penn State.
Yep. Eagles and Marcus Mariota agree on a one-year deal because the Colts agree to a deal with Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
And Seahawks are re-signing backup quarterback Andrew Luck, so they're loading up. Dak Prescott says change is good. I mean, I was going to say change is bad. With the offseason moves, it's tough for him because Zeke was released on Wednesday, so a lot of change. Kellen Moore, of course, moving on to be the offensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Chargers. Mike McCarthy is going to be calling plays for him next season. I'm sure that's going to go well.
Yeah, it will. You watch.
All right. Thanks, Jimmy. Mike Schaefer coming up next on the heels of Dylan Raiola making an announcement. Schaefer joins us on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
The Blue Jay Zone is brought to you by Barry Law. We're in it to win it. For the third time since 2011, both Creighton men's and women's basketball teams made the NCAA tournament in the same season back-to-back years. It's a feat just 11 other schools can claim this season, with such notables as Arizona, Baylor, Gonzaga, Texas, and UCLA also on the list. For the Creighton women, the 6th seed in South Bend is the best in program history. Listen for coverage of both Creighton men's and women's basketball in the NCAA tournament on 1620 The Zone and 1180 The Zone.
Winning comes without a guarantee. Focus, discipline, and extraordinary effort make winning more likely. Sometimes our greatest wins come from major setbacks. Coming back from a serious injury is a win that requires teamwork. At Barry Law, we're in it to win it.
If you have been seriously injured in an accident, call Barry Law today. 402-999-7777.
Say goodbye to ordinary home shows. The Omaha Lifestyle and Home Expo features smart technology and thousands of dollars in giveaways like gas fireplaces, pellet smoker, and electronics. Lots of activities for the kids, including a St. Patrick's Day treasure hunt. Plus, catch all the NCAA tournament action in the new Expo Lounge. Free admission for veterans and active military. Made available this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Island Home Expo at the CHI Health Center, presented by Cox Communications.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
When you keep a car for a long time, it becomes a classic. When you keep your air conditioner for a long time, it becomes, well, Let's just say it doesn't get better with age. Call Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and have your old air conditioner checked out. If it's needed, you can have a brand new Carrier air conditioner installed in no time with fast and easy financing. When the other companies send salesmen, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of the way we do the things we do.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, freshly returned from the euphoria of the World Baseball Classic, where he was semi-shirtless out in left field for a Team USA game. Mike Schaefer from Husker 24/7 joins us. How was the atmosphere in Phoenix?
I really should have went shirtless because they closed the roof and it was like a million degrees in that place. It was a sauna. I don't know if you've ever been to Chase Field or Bank One Ballpark or whatever it is. It was a little underwhelming. The actual stadium, the atmosphere in there was really cool though. I mean, World Baseball Classic game. It was really a lot of fun. Kind of cool to be able to watch these guys on like one team, just seeing that lineup roll through. It was a great experience. I'm glad I did it.
Shafe, I've seen it both closed and open. Have you seen it open, Chase Field?
I haven't. It's just
okay. It's a lot different. It looks a little better open.
Yeah, there's just no airflow whatsoever in that place. And so, there's about 85 people crammed into a row of 20 in the bleachers in left field. And so it was kind of a hot, sweaty mess. So, that's a beautiful, vibrant picture for your listeners at home.
Yes. All I can think about is you and a comedian, one of my favorite comedians, shirtless. So there's the part of the experience of it's a world experience. I think people have to separate when they look at the World Baseball Classic and not treat it like Major League Baseball, but treat it with the passion of that's our sports country. And not speaking on behalf of the U.S., but other Latin countries, which the World Baseball Classic is unbelievable. I mean, look at in Japan with Ohtani and the response that they've gotten there. Did you get a sense of like there was some pride with the USA playing? I mean, it's a collection of the best for the most part in Major League Baseball, but they're wearing the red, white, and blue against a country who is extremely passionate about the sport. Did you get a sense of pride? Did you have, you and Captain America were going to hang out? I mean, what's it like to be at a game like that from the U.S. perspective, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there definitely was. And certainly it's a really cool emotional experience when you're at one of those national flag in the outfield. You got everybody basically either kind of like swaying or singing along to a national anthem. That was really neat. I mean, I wish that I was at the United States-Mexico game. I know it obviously didn't go well for the United States, but Mexico sold out their entire allotment of tickets down there. I mean, they had so many more fans than what anyone else basically was bringing. I mean, they brought their own sort of like section to everything, and it was a big deal for them. It was a big deal. You could tell the players on their team too, and so you could see that in the emotion how they were playing. I think the U.S. matched that at times. I mean, I think their pitching. It's one of those things that you wish that you could have your most complete team, and they're nowhere near it when you look at their pitching. And so that's going to be they're going to have to like really have to go purely softball style I think to win this thing because their pitching is just going to hold them back. But I think it meant a lot to the people involved. It's a great event. Like the Edwin Diaz thing just takes so much air out of such an awesome run of games. I mean, and if you look, in Japan, I think played Korea, but that was one of the highest rated sporting events ever, like ever.
Yeah.
And so, people really want to talk about baseball being dead. Globally, it's still pretty popular. And I think it's still relatively popular here in the U.S. I think it's a great showcase event, and I hope it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, speaking of Diaz in Puerto Rico, is there still a part of your heart that just breaks when you see Frankie Lindor? Because I know I do.
Not as much.
Have you moved on?
I had always kind of had, I loved him, obviously, but Jose Ramirez was always kind of my guy. And so the fact that they could only keep one, they kept the one that I think I would have preferred.
Okay.
I wish him nothing but the best. I find the people that, were sort of trashing on him as being overrated and his contract's ridiculous. And then you see all the numbers that, people are getting paid this offseason. I think he's a really, really good player and, could be on a Hall of Fame track.
Yeah.
But no, the heart doesn't bang when I see it. I wish him the best. I found my forever.
Good for you, man. Good for you, because I still have a tough time, but that's good. Maybe I could learn a lesson from you.
Mike Schaefer from Husker 24/7 joining us. You've done the pre-spring podcast. Spring practice begins bright and early at 6 a.m. on Monday. We get a lot of access to Matt Rule. Before we get into a little bit of what to expect in the spring, if we're having a draft and we're drafting off of Nebraska's roster, their current roster, either they're already on campus or they're on their way, who would be your number one pick on this current roster?
What are we drafting based on? Like the best team you can put together?
Yes, the best team that you can put together. Like that, you're drafting the best player to begin your team.
So, I think I had this guy pretty high last year. Evan Cooper said some really good things off the top. Is it that hard to convince people that Quentin Newsom's Nebraska's best player, both in terms of potential and maybe just the best player on the roster? I know cornerback isn't always the position at which you start to build a team, but I just think he's so safely entrenched as you don't have questions about him. Like, you're going to put him at your cornerback spot. You're going to feel good about the production that you get there. You hope that maybe there's a little bit of a jump with some new teaching for him with Evan Cooper. But it's not like he played poorly under Travis Fisher. We saw him grow as a player. He's gotten better as a tackler. He's become, pretty good gambling in terms of pass breakups and everything else. I really feel like you could do a lot worse than starting with Quentin Newsom at number one. So that's honestly where I would go. And I don't know that a lot of people would agree because there's some other options, but he's kind of the guy the last 2 years where I just felt like I think he can be a really special player.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I disagree with you, but I would want to follow up with where would you put a guy like A.J. Allen?
Pretty high up. Gary knows that I was really high on him going into last year. This is a guy that I was trying to tell people that come November, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the lion's shares of carries, that kind of thing. Obviously, the injury prevented that from happening. But there was times last year where I know that Anthony Grant had a bunch of yards early. There's times where A.J. Allen felt like he could have been the more effective running back just with his style. And so I like him a lot. If you're going off of, this is like a fantasy league and you're trying to draft back based off of like keeper potential, A.J. Allen would be really high on that list too. And he might just be high overall because there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of guys that kind of fall in the same sort of category where, you can kind of throw a dart and any number of names and they're probably going to be about the same.
I agree.
But he has some real special upside.
So that's a position group which I think is a strength on this roster. Whether it be Anthony Grant, A.J. Allen, they really like Gabe Ervin. They like him a lot. You referenced Newsom at a position where between cornerbacks and safeties, there are 21 scholarship guys. And there are other positions like wide receiver where, how many guys are going to get reps because the line to get reps is going to stretch on forever. But what areas on this roster going into spring do you worry about and even into the fall because of the lack of depth? Not of who is playing there, but just that there's not a lot of depth to supplement the frontline guys.
It starts up front. Nebraska is still paying for the sins of the recruiting of the defensive line over the last 3 cycles. They just don't have guys there. You don't have You can't develop what you don't have there, and they haven't really been able to develop. The previous staff wasn't able to develop what they did get, and so you've got a lot of questions up front on your defensive line. You're not going to have Ty Robinson for the spring. You're really going to be pretty thin there, so it's going to be interesting how they work rotations and everything when you get to the spring game. So there's a real question about up front. I mean, I think if they could add somebody, big body wise, this spring in the transfer portal, it would behoove them to do it. I think a guy, to maybe keep an eye on is Riley Van Poppel, who could play as a freshman, because he's not necessarily that he's going to be 100% ready to do so, but they might need the reps. They might need his size right off the bat, because they just don't have as much up there. And so that you start there, wide receiver, they have a lot of bodies, but Billy Kemp, Marcus Washington, and then after that, it is a giant drop off, like in terms of returning production. So, I have some questions as to you get beyond those first two names, who else is stepping up, who else is going to be available. I'm not remotely counting on Isaiah Garcia Castaneda and David Betts until we're pretty much near September, and we know where those guys fall on a depth chart, and we know where they've been in terms of putting the work in and building back the trust and everything else. So I look at wide receiver as another position, and same thing. I mean, you look at these two spots, defensive line, wide receiver, just areas where they haven't really gotten players to develop, and they haven't gotten much out of what they brought in.
Well, and Shafe, I don't want to necessarily say for, guys like a Newely or Prohaska or Corcoran or Ben Scott, guys that we assume are going to be starters on the O-line. But as far as somebody that could take a jump in the effort of providing depth, is there an offensive lineman or two that this spring and, subsequently the fall are going to be big development moments for them, that they could provide that depth that obviously the O-line could utilize as well?
Yeah, I mean, the offensive line is its own discussion. I mean, it was very good last year. They return a lot of those pieces. So the question of does another year with Donovan Raiola, a year in a system with Marcus Satterfield's offense, where, they talked a lot about trying to build the offense that suits the offensive line. We don't think that was really the case with Mark Whipple and what Scott Frost was doing previously. So maybe that can help out right there. But, if you're looking for names, I mean, Henry Lutovsky is a guy that big spring for him. He could make a big move here. This is someone that I liked a lot in his 2021 recruiting class. A guy that I think is full of potential. Big guy, 6'6", 330 pounds. He moves incredibly well, and he's a really hard worker. Like, he's kind of almost a throwback in some ways. So I think it's a big spring for a Lutovsky. Big spring for another in-state guy, for an in-state guy, Ethan Piper. I mean, if he's able to prove that he can handle the center position, that actually allows Ben Scott to move to right tackle, which changes the dynamic of your offensive line. Or if you end up liking Piper at a guard position, I just think he's one of those guys who's been written off a couple times. He has had struggles, but there's a reason that, the previous staff really was intrigued by him. I think he's got a good physical skill set. It just hasn't come together. So those two guys on the interior, and then of course, Bryce Benhart, until further notice, is always going to be an X factor because he has that great size. He has the great lineage in terms of recruiting. You just haven't gotten the fire out of him and the consistency in his play. So if that could come together, that could really help out. I mean, they have such a collection of pieces that they need a few of these guys to stabilize, and then you can kind of build what you want with that offensive line and see what you have going forward.
Mike Schaefer from Husker 24/7 joining us. Now let's shift into recruiting. When Mike Riley was here in his brief time, and we all know the staff that he assembled, they leaned into California, and they could convince some top-notch dudes to come here. I remember in the 16 season, as they were building that 17 class, I mean, they had 5 stars. They had plenty of 4 stars that were on campus. I mean, Mike Riley, between 2012 and Mike Riley in 2016, Nebraska hadn't even gotten a 5-star to visit campus. Riley got that. But he was able to attract like top-level players to campus on visits, but they could not seal the deal with many. Now I'm looking to next weekend. Can you kind of put it into context for our listeners, the kind of weekend that Nebraska is assembling for unofficial visits during the first weekend of spring football?
Well, I mean, it has a chance to be one of the most talent-laden weekends ever. I mean, we're talking, you can talk the Ohio State game in 2011, which always gets brought up in terms of the amount of talent they had on the sidelines and future Huskers that were there that day. You can talk about any number of spring games where they brought out a number of people, any of the Big Red Weekends or the Friday Night Lights, any of that. I mean, this has a chance to match and far exceed based on who actually shows up, because we're talking about guys that are in the top 5 of their position, and multiple of them. I mean, you have several of the best offensive linemen in the country are expected to be out there on Saturday. The number 1 quarterback, wide receivers that are in the top 10 at their position group. And so you have this mass collection of talent, and it's all going to be there. How it all works is going to be a question. I mean, you get this many people out there, you have that many egos. People want to spend time with the coaches. Like, how do you keep everybody engaged, entertained? I think it's staggered as to who's coming in when. I don't know that you're going to have everybody there all at the same time, but it's going to be an opportunity, for them to really put together a big visit weekend, and they've had a lot of success with that in Baylor. I mean, I don't look for a lot of immediate commitments, because I think a lot of this is just a precursor, trying to get guys out once to then get them out a second or a third time, and then at that point you really have the full pitch of Nebraska down. But maybe Matt Rule doesn't operate that way. We don't really know. It's every staff, every coaching staff, they handle these big recruiting weekends differently. They might really press. They might be able to get some of these commitments. They got Roger Gradney, a top 247 guy. He's never even been to campus. He's hoping to come next weekend. So a lot of talent that's going to be here, and I think a lot of excitement around this program, right now. So we'll see what he's able to, Matt Rule and the staff are able to accomplish with that big weekend.
I know you've probably been asked then the days following a big weekend like that, are there any anticipated announcements? Is there anything where you're feeling like if it did happen, it would be a little bit more of a surprise?
Well, I mean, we have to get into it and see kind of what people are saying. When you're talking about this caliber of player, it's hard for me to imagine that they're going to take one visit and just lock it down to Nebraska. Yeah. But, if you get, and I don't think this is out of the question, if you get a Dylan Raiola a week after or 2 weeks after that visit, and he just shuts everything down, all of a sudden you've got that guy who's basically going to be working it for you in what Tony White called off-hours recruiting, where you get this person that can kind of help recruit on your behalf as a player in the class. And so that's just that could be such a really big thing. That could have its own kind of effect. But I wouldn't be surprised if they get a commitment or two. I'm just not expecting an avalanche, if you will.
One final one here. We'll get you out of here on this. So earlier in the week, Danny Kalin commits to Mizzou, and they did a really good job of recruiting him. They made him a priority. We know what Nebraska at that position has as their priority. Is there a plan B for quarterback recruiting in the class of 24 for Nebraska?
I think the plan B is if you don't end up with Dylan Raiola, you keep that door as open as possible in case something were to happen in his recruitment later on, and then you look at the transfer portal when it rolls in. Because one of the things now with the way the transfer portal operates, I don't know that you're going to get certain programs feel the necessity to take a high school quarterback every year. Guys that are in, Danny Kalin really probably had to make a decision earlier than maybe he even wanted to, because there's a certain class of quarterback now where you kind of have to protect your spot because the drop-off can be really steep. I mean, so I think because of that, you're Nebraska, you're not able to get Raiola. Kalin's already committed elsewhere. They haven't really pursued any other quarterbacks. It doesn't look like they're going to. They're just not going to magically try to jump in on some other kid, I think, after the fact. So you move it to the transfer portal, you see what comes available there. Maybe there's a long-term option for you in there. Maybe there's a certain quarterback from the area that ends up leaving a program that he's out. You just don't know. So I think you keep your options open and you just move it down the line to the transfer portal.
Great stuff. How's the bracket, by the way, after day one?
It is, I took like 12 seconds to fill out my one bracket that is required for CBS, and Virginia lost, and I had them in the Final Four. But it's Marquette over UCLA. So I don't know. I feel like I'm a little different than some people.
Yeah, that's not bad, but I know, Tony Bennett, he's dead to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I should have known. Obviously, they either win the title or they go out early. So one or the other.
I mean, Isaac Trout will transfer, and everybody will be happy again. All right, Shafe, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Shafe.
What a weird year for Isaac Trout at Virginia. It was a baller, GI, and he decided to go to Virginia. He redshirted this year. I look at their offense. Talk about the three ball being a game changer. They don't shoot many threes.
No.
Now they play at a pace that Tony Bennett's never going to change because it's been successful. Just When they get to the tournament outside of the run to the championship and winning it, they have come up short in the opening round, and they've performed below their seed.
Yeah.
I never understood Isaac Trout, and that's, I mean, let's don't beat around the bush. He had interest last year when he was already to Virginia of, hey man, I want to come back home. I mean, I think it would be a bigger upset if he stayed at Virginia, but I expect him to be available as a free agent. Watching them play and then looking at Isaac's game, I'm like, why? What was the fit here? I mean, Tony Bennett is a great guy. He might struggle in the NCAA tournament. Tony Bennett is a fabulous person, but I never got why Virginia was the place for him, and when Isaac had so many possibilities. But if you put all your faith in Virginia,
that's a tough one to do. I mean, Mike's right though. I mean, it's also very appropriate talking to Mike about riding the Dylan Raiola roller coaster. You're riding the Virginia roller coaster year in and year out. I mean, if they get the matchups that they can allow that defense to work, maximize their possessions, then
but they play the kind of style that fuels a comeback.
Yes.
So you don't ever blow teams out.
No.
You keep teams around, and that's what happened against Furman.
Yep.
And then, oh, by the way, you never expected a turnover like Clark
Oh
had.
my
A
God.
veteran like that who made one of the greatest passes in 19
against Purdue
to one of the worst passes.
Yes.
And he panicked, and Tony Bennett, thought that Clark knew, as a veteran, okay, I'm just going to trust him, and he threw up a yellow ball. And credit to Furman. Furman, one of Furman's best players, fouls out, and they hit the three, and they're dancing, and everybody's like, "What is a Paladin?" Coming up next, what will North Carolina State bring today? Corey Smith will join us, Matt Verzal as well in the last hour before we turn it over to day number 2 of basketball on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a significant delay from 192nd to 175th on Center. Then on Highway 370, be prepared for some minor slowdowns from the I-80 East ramp all the way to 90th Street. Then on Dodge, it looks like things have slowed down quite a bit from 84th to 75th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Fernando's has your fix for Lent, and we're not talking about the same old fish sandwich here. Fernando's has shrimp quesadillas, blackened Alaska street tacos, and baked tilapia. Get your Fernando's fix at 114th and Dodge or 75th and Pacific. FernandosOmaha.com.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
Say goodbye to ordinary home shows. The Omaha Lifestyle and Home Expo features smart technology and thousands of dollars in giveaways like gas fireplaces, pellet smoker, and electronics. Lots of activities for the kids, including a St. Patrick's Day treasure hunt. Plus, catch all the NCAA tournament action in the new Expo Lounge. Free admission for veterans and active military. Made available by Rotor Mortuaries. This weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Omaha Lifestyle and Home Expo at the CHI Health Center. Presented by Cox Communications.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
From basketball to volleyball, baseball to softball, soccer, tennis, and so much more, the Creighton sports season is packed with action. The 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law, covers it all. Each week, we visit with Blue Jay athletes and coaches to hear their stories and document their climb through the Big East Conference. The 1620 The Jays podcast drops each Friday morning and is found at 1620thezone.com and all major podcast platforms. Just search 1620 The Jays. Covering all things Creighton Blue Jays, it's the 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law from 1620 The Zone.
Tell us how you feel on the J-Tech Construction and Solar Zone Twitter feed. Reach Gary, Nick, Connor, Josh, and John anytime on the J-Tech Construction and Solar Zone Twitter feed. Contact the official exterior and solar experts of the Huskers. J-Tech Construction at yourexteriorexperts.com.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 16.
Carolina State at Bowl Arena in Denver, home of the Nuggets, home of the Avs, the Stanley Cup champion Avalanche. It is Creighton and North Carolina State as we welcome in the editor of Pack Pride, the 24/7 sports site. We just had Mike Schaefer on from Husker 24/7. This is Corey Smith. Corey, good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Sharp and Handley in Omaha.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
So Jimmy referenced this, and you last night were looking for a place to hang out. You're traveling with the North Carolina State media contingent. You walked into a bar, and it was all blue. Did you hang around, or did you immediately make a U-turn and leave?
We did hang around, but there was actually an upstairs area to it. So that's the reason why we ended up staying. We were told it was a private event, and we couldn't be downstairs. And so we needed to go upstairs. And as we started walking upstairs, I quickly realized, like, oh, there's a lot of blue. Oh, that's all Creighton fans. That's I mean, they seemed to have a great time. They were, they were very orderly, so it wasn't too crazy. But yeah, it was really funny to walk into that and realize that was where we were.
So we've had this discussion about which version of Creighton will show up, the one that was rolling with the win streak, or the one here at the end of the year that was in 4-4 in their last day. I think we could maybe ask the same question North Carolina State. You're writing your story. It's a big day in Raleigh on a Wednesday night. They're honoring the 84 or 83 championship team. They play Wake Forest, blow them out, get to 22 wins. You're feeling really, really good. People are feeling good. And then there's the last 4 games going 1-3. Which version of North Carolina State do you think will be the one on display this afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all dependent on the guard play today, and I think that can be said about Creighton as well. Whichever team's guards show up in the biggest way, I think is going to lift this team. Obviously, for NC State, you have DJ Burns that's been, a really efficient player, and it's kind of like a throwback, type of big man that, backs players down, doesn't try to do too much from outside. He'll hit a mid-range jumper every once in a while from the free throw line, but nothing too crazy. And then obviously Ryan Kalkbrenner on the other side. But for both teams, you're waiting to find out, hey, which guards are going to show up. For NC State, it's been Traquavion Smith and Jarkel Joyner all year long. Unfortunately, Traquavion Smith struggled over the last 4 games, with the exception of the Virginia Tech game. So you need for him to show up today. You need for Jarkel Joyner to show up and be the experienced guard that they need. And then you need for guys like Casey Morsell and even Jack Clark that have been efficient parts of this team throughout the season to continue to be that, or at least over the last several weeks they have been.
Corey, we know matchups are always a huge part of this, for a team, and regardless of how the rest of their season went. And there was a matchup that I know gets a lot of run over the last week, and that was the Clemson matchup. Watching that, what was it about Clemson that just continued to give this NC State team fits?
I mean, some of it is the defense from Clemson. They just frustrate NC State with their system for whatever reason. Just forcing, they're not going to allow guys like Traquavion Smith and Jarkel Joyner to drive inside. They were going to force them, unless they're in transition. They were going to force them to try to take deep outside shots, and that's something that if they're on, then great. But Traquavion Smith, for whatever reason, Clemson has constantly been his kryptonite. He's shot really poorly from outside against them. And I think that's probably the strategy that Creighton's going to try to employ today, is try to force him to take deep outside shots
he'll fall for it at times. It's just whether or not they're hitting. They were hitting against Virginia Tech. He shot, I believe, 11 of 13 in that game. So an incredible shooting clip for him, but that doesn't happen very often, especially not at this stage. So we'll see what they end up doing. And also, Clemson, especially in the game at PNC Arena, they were just ridiculously, they were shooting ridiculously well in that game. It seemed like no shots that they could take would miss, especially in the first half, and that ended up creating enough separation that NC State couldn't make a comeback. And then the ACC tournament, they were just more physical than them. So it's going to be, again, what version of this NC State team do we see today? Are they able to get some early inside shots and to be able to, kind of move things outward, go inside out as opposed to outside in, which I think is going to be a much better system against Creighton, a team that doesn't want to allow you to do anything inside.
Corey Smith joining us from Pac Pride, North Carolina State and Creighton later today here on the Zone. We've all, we've watched all season from the ACC, but now even more with this matchup being finalized. We've been enamored with Smith. He's an NBA dude. But the guy that keeps drawing my attention, because we've kind of seen you talked about Kalkbrenner, and Creighton has a true big man. We see kind of the big man revolution here in the NCAA tournament with guys that are 6'8", and we know how the big man is treated at the next level. How would you describe the big man for North Carolina State? Put into words DJ Burns' game.
Yeah, if you remember Dwight Pringy back in the day,
I was going to ask, is he an NFL draft? Is he an NFL draft guy, not an NBA draft guy?
Hell, he could be a defensive end. If we're being honest, he's a big dude, 6'9", nearly 300 pounds. So he out physicals people down low, and it's going to be interesting to see how he matches up with Kalkbrenner, because Kalkbrenner is a guy that it's funny. Somebody asked earlier this week, one of the NC State writers. I'm not going to call them out, but they were asking Keith about this, and they said, you're going to be facing off against a wiry guy in Ryan Kalkbrenner. I was like, I wouldn't call 7'1", 260 pounds wiry, but okay. DJ Burns is a guy he's like a dancing bear. When he is able to back down guys, he has a left-hand floater that he can hit or a left-hand hook shot that he can hit on a constant basis. He can also hit a floater. You don't expect to see it from a guy like that. He reminds me a lot of if you think of Kenny Lawson, when he was at Louisiana Tech. There's a couple other guys. I can't remember the guy from Colorado State that's now with in the NBA too. He's with the Grizzlies. So there's just those big guys have been really, really good at what they do, and it's because it's tough to match up against him. He's such a difficult matchup where he just kind of backs you down. And when he does that, it's like the weight of him makes it really difficult to keep distance with him and keep, that close defense on him. So I'll be interested to see how Kalkbrenner defends him today, because obviously he wants to go to block a ton of shots, but are you able to do that? Are you able to keep that distance with him when he tries to back you down and hit that left-handed hook shot?
You talked a little bit about what Clemson did defensively against NC State, what you would also assume, how Creighton would try to go about it in defending this NC State team. What about on the other side, on whether it's Kalkbrenner, whether it's Trey Alexander, and understanding there's an emphasis on the perimeter for Creighton as well as the inside? How do you see NC State equipped to try to defend it, and what you anticipate them kind of doing against this Creighton team?
Yeah, the biggest thing that NC State wants to do on a constant basis defensively is try to force turnovers, which is, something that Creighton has at times struggled with this season. So I think that's something they definitely want to attack. Creighton is a team that wants to get out in transition, but NC State kind of relies on it. They need those types of transition points to be able to get the energy, be able to, create momentum in games. And obviously being an 11 seed versus a 6 seed, I'm sure, outside of the Creighton crowd, there's probably going to be some people, supporting NC State today out here in Denver just to see an upset. So they'll have that on their sides, but you have to create it. So I think they want to be able to create turnovers. Obviously, Creighton is a team that moves the ball really well, but if they're able to, create those tip passes and get out in transition, that's exactly what NC State wants to do. And they're the team that has a half-court offense, obviously, but not nearly as complex as Creighton. So they're a team that, like I said, relies on getting those turnovers, and if they're able to get some good points that way in transition and actually finish those opportunities, this is a team that has a chance to really push for a win today. Obviously, that's going to be something that Creighton is going to focus on not doing throughout the day.
So let's talk about the ACC real quick here. You have Pitt that advanced, and they get Iowa State. But then yesterday, Virginia comes up short against Furman. NC State playing today. Duke rolled last night, probably woefully underseeded. And then you have Miami, which gets Drake today. And you know, outside of the triangle and anywhere else in the ACC, there is the narrative about ACC basketball is down. And of course, North Carolina is already done. This is 2 straight years. Only 5 teams have made the tournament. Where in terms of basketball is the ACC right now, where it's always been thought of as the premier conference, but the last 2 years it's been one of those punching bag conferences?
Yeah, I mean, there's there's no way to say it. It's down right now, and that's due to some teams that you expect to be at the top, kind of hurting the conference overall. Obviously, as you said, UNC was a team that was expected to be competing for defending a national championship, or trying to go into not defending a national championship, but trying to get back to the national championship game and get the actual trophy there. So this is a conference that thought it was going to have 7-8 teams because you were going to be competing with that type of team at the very top of the conference. Instead, what you had was them being a middling program and missing out on the NCAA tournament. Wake Forest was a program that was expected to step up this year and didn't. They were wildly inconsistent. Obviously, NC State blew them out at home in that game that we were referencing earlier. And then you had some teams in the middle of the pack that you expected to be good enough to get there, like a Syracuse, and you constantly expect for Florida State to be good, and they were one of the worst teams in the entire country this year. And then Louisville was one of the worst teams. So when you think about the net rankings, like NC State was hurt horrendously bad by the fact that those teams were so bad this season. And I would throw Georgia Tech in there too. All those teams and Boston College, like you had to play those teams. So when you look at the net rankings at the end of the year, all of those teams are dragged down, whether you win or lose, by having to face the Florida State, by having to face a Louisville, or having to go up against a Georgia Tech or Boston College. And again, you don't have those premier wins over a UNC or a premier win over a Syracuse if you win that game. So the conference just needs to kind of figure out like what they need to do, first of all, in non-conference play, because that's where some of these teams have struggled. And then, find out a way to play more physical basketball, because they're just getting punked by teams. You saw yesterday, Virginia playing their system, but they were not able to close things out. Obviously, there's upsets all over the place, but Miami, I wouldn't be surprised if they lose today too, because they're missing North Chatamir, a guy that's been playing really, really good basketball for them, has been a staple down low, transfer from Arkansas State. So it's just a really, really weird year for the ACC. It has been a weird couple years for the ACC. It just needs to find its identity again.
Real quickly, and we know that as an 11 seed, there's probably, you mentioned it, there might even be some extra NC State fans of the local variety just to root for an upset. But as far as the chatter on Sunday that, you could have made a case for Clemson to make it in over NC State, that, some people did have NC State maybe not even making it. Is Kevin Keatts using that at all, is best to your knowledge?
I'm sure he is. I mean, he said yesterday in the huddle when they broke, that, they're not checking boxes for making it to the NCAA tournament, which a lot of NC State fans are extremely excited about making it back. Obviously, they felt they had a case in 2019. 2020, they felt they should have made it, but then everything shut down. They came up short, obviously, the last 2 years, and they make it this year. And they said, well, we're excited to be here, but we're not checking boxes until we win games. They wanted to come here to win. So this is a team that is highly motivated. Obviously, a pretty loose team. Obviously, Jacobian Smith, Jarkel Joyner, the two of them, very, very confident players.
Yes.
They do not lack confidence in the least bit, but they know the goal. They know that they didn't just want to come back to NC State and go to the NCAA tournament. They wanted to win a game. So I think this is going to be a really, really fun game to watch today, because obviously both these teams have something to prove, because Creighton feels like if they didn't have a 6-team losing streak in the middle of the season, they probably could have been a 3 seed. So both these teams have a lot to prove, and both are extremely talented.
I agree. Corey, we appreciate it. Thank you. Enjoy Denver, and thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys so much.
That's Corey Smith. You can follow him on Twitter at @RCoreySmith. He's the editor of Pack Pride. I still like Creighton today. 74-71 is my prediction.
All
If
right,
you're
that's
into
about right.
scores, watch. Here's something that could be key against Smith and Joyner. Who, again, Smith is like a heat check guy.
Yep.
He'll be dribbling. They're a lot like Arizona State from their guards that just shoot all over the place. You never know where the offense is coming from, and they will take some wild shots. They shoot a lot of elbow jumpers, so they're in those long two stat category, which, Creighton's going to run you off the three-point line. I mean, and they're going to keep you away from the rim with a rim protector. There's two big keys for Creighton. Tell me, three. How many free throws is Creighton going to shoot? They're a pretty good free throw shooting team. Where Kalkbrenner's going to spend the majority of his time on both ends of the floor. And then how much Sharif Mitchell's going to play? Because you're going to have to pick up the guards pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I think Nembhard and Alexander have a little chip on their shoulder. There was some stuff said yesterday that I thought the response was couched, but you could tell that North Carolina State's cockiness with their guards is like, oh, hello, we're not a bad combo. I think Sharif Mitchell and his defense, not his offense, his defense will at some point have to come into play today against the guards of Joyner and Smith.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And, the Kalkbrenner one I really like too, because especially defensively, I mean, if he is exactly what he needs to be defensively and what he has been, what has given him the accolades, that's something that I just, NC State, try as you may, prepare as you may, that is extremely tough to emulate, especially given the perimeter defense for Creighton. If you're getting a little bit of the dribble drive, if you're bringing Kalkbrenner out of the paint a little bit, even to help defend there, that's something to keep an eye on. I feel very confident that he's getting what he typically gets in the paint offensively, but defensively, I think that's a big one right there.
Yeah, guard on guard crime. Whoever wins that battle, seriously, that is four dudes on the floor that are going to get after it today. On
that's gonna be fun.
Ends. All right, Matt Verzal gets after it. Doesn't have to be St. Patty's Day. He's joining us next on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly cloudy and chilly for your St. Patrick's Day with a high today of 33, but still feeling like the lower 20s. Expect breezy winds out of the northwest up to 25 miles an hour with a 20% chance of flurries later this afternoon and evening. No accumulation expected. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, windy, cold, a low of 11, but feeling like -8. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine on 1620 The Zone.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. There is so much to do in Omaha in the spring, whether it's going to the ballpark, hiking on any of the local trails, or just hanging out on the patio and enjoying the breeze with friends. Why not see all of those things and more with the best vision you have had in your entire life? Kugler Vision, the only place in Nebraska that specializes in all 7 FDA-approved forms of modern vision correction. Schedule a consultation online today at kuglervision.com.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. What, still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. Air filters, brakes, headlights, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Say goodbye to ordinary home shows. The Omaha Lifestyle and Home Expo features smart technology and thousands of dollars in giveaways like gas fireplaces, pellet smoker, and electronics. Lots of activities for the kids, including a St. Patrick's Day treasure hunt. Plus, catch all the NCAA tournament action in the new Expo Lounge. Free admission for veterans and active military. Made available by Rotor Mortuaries. This weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Omaha Lifestyle and Home Expo at the CHI Health Center. Presented by Cox Communications.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
No matter how dark it gets, there's always a sunrise, a warm bed, a warm meal, and hope. Sienna Francis House serves hope to those experiencing homelessness and addiction. Every day, we provide more than 1,000 meals and serve nearly 500 guests in our emergency shelter, Miracles Recovery Program, and supportive housing apartments, and help our guests navigate a path to permanent housing. Learn more at siennafrancis.org.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
And he joins us now. Good morning, Verse.
Good, boys. How you doing?
Good. Are yay or nay on St. Patty's Day? From the Matt Verzal, I like to be entertained, to the Matt Verzal owner.
It's just being in, like, and I apologize if the audio's bad. We're not going to be able to open until 2 today because we just got a lot of catering. So,
right.
But anyway, back in Lincoln, when I was a little more active participant in just the straight bar industry, it was great. And now that I'm just in the pizza place with a small bar and it's not really our holiday, good luck to everybody out there. Please be safe.
Yeah, okay. So, Verz, you strike me as a guy, I might have you completely painted wrong, that if someone is being an amateur, if you will, on a day like this, that you would not have a lot of patience for said amateur when it comes to handling your adult beverages. Would I be wrong in assuming that?
No, because you can't. Okay, so when you own I used to have some bigger bars in Lincoln, and the last thing you want is like a big dust up, right?
Yeah.
For drunk people, logic is gone. Everybody's hiding from a problem somewhere, so you don't want to stir it up. So my most successful would be, when drunk human was having too much fun, would be to say, "Hey, congratulations, man or woman." And they were like, "Oh, what's up?" And I was like, "You are the lucky winner today. We have a huge prize we're going to give you." I'm like, "You just got to follow me outside." And they'd be like, "Sweet, I won something. I knew it." And then they get them outside and like, "You won an end of the night here. Like you are not coming back inside. You are not."
Damn, God, that's good.
But you didn't want to, you go in there and you get, you get the crowd all riled up. Now you got a big problem.
That's a good
you
point.
Got a big problem. And then outside, they would MF me and tell me I was a fat piece of ass. And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I am. That's fair. I'm serving up you."
The ranking of, if you had to rank like the top drinking days on the calendar, St. Patty's Day for some would be in the top 4. What other days would you say when you were in the bar industry ranked as top 4 drinking days?
Are we talking like just for volume of sales or for like fun atmosphere?
Let's do both.
Okay. So volume of sales, and Omaha will get them some St. Patrick's Day. Like I got down here at 3:30 this morning, and there were cars like waiting at some places, and I was like, "That is aggressive." New Year's was always fun because it's festive. You don't usually have a lot of drama on that one. I don't think it's a national holiday, but the first home opening football game of the season
Okay.
is always a good one. And then that day before, it's not a holiday again, but the day before Thanksgiving is a banger. Like that one got some stuff accomplished. Like that was always fun. It's like, man, literally everyone is tired of their family and they've been home for like half an hour. So those are kind of the tops. But the volume then would be, I'll never forget when I think it was Oklahoma, Notre Dame back-to-back or Notre Dame, Oklahoma back-to-back in Lincoln home game. And at one of the places, our Budweiser driver he just sat in the alley. He's like, I'm not leaving. You're going to call me in 15 minutes. So him and I just chucked kegs down the chute all night. It was fun. That one will never be beaten. St. Patrick's does good. It's a drinking holiday with a drinking set of Irishmen, and then Thanksgiving behind that. Yeah.
You guys now for Paisans, obviously with pizza, I know sometimes people will get into a little bit of a creativity, if you will, where it's almost trying too much when it comes to you guys kind of avoid that. You just stick to what you know, right?
We have it all. All those that have done their time behind the line, much like my guy Jacob with 2B Foot's doing right now. When the order comes back and you just look at it and it's like artichoke, sun-dried tomato, spinach, broccoli.
Yeah.
Hey, bud, just can I get half of the amount you normally put on of this and a quarter amount? And I'm like, no, man, it's all going on the same, dog. Like, this is what we're doing. And so everybody's got their own thing. And as I learned from my good buddy DJ a long time ago, everybody's money's green. So
that is
smile and make it and you giggle and you go.
Yes. Our friend DJ knows how to make that green. Matt Verzal joining us here. So quick thing about spring football, and I appreciate your time. I know you are busy today, so we won't keep you that long. Spring football, more about team or more about individual?
For this year is probably more about individuals. They got to find some dogs. I think they've done a good job through their winter conditioning of like building up some of the team stuff. Where they broke them into teams. There was a scoreboard. Everybody knew what everybody was doing. So now it's like, hey, we did all this, and you lifted some weights, and you ran real early in the morning. Now let's see how it translates down to that old football field and see what you can do with it. So that's probably more about individual for now.
Would you have said a year ago, kind of given what this team was kind of going through in a make or break year for Scott, would that have been an example of more about team then?
That should have been completely about team, but that was still about trying to build a culture.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they right? Coach Martin is a good guy, and we were talking, and we just built, almost don't want to go there. We were just BSing, and I said, hey man, tell me this. He goes, what's up? I was like, are you going to play a spring game? Like, are you going to physically hit each other?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I won't guarantee you much of anything. I said, okay. He said, I'll guarantee you one thing. I said, nice. He said, we're going to hit. He said, we're going to play a game. I was like, that's all I need, my guy. Like, just get them out there. Find some competitive guys. Find some guys from off the radar that maybe didn't resonate with you real quick, but are doing it now, and just go play.
And it starts bright and early at 6 a.m. on Monday. Verz, we appreciate it. Again, we open at 2 today, so you'll be good, but have fun with that catering order.
Well, actually, the crew here, go easy on my crew tonight. After I get this last catering done at about 1, I am headed to the fine city of Holdridge to speak at the 8-man football coaches clinic.
Oh, nice.
All
right. I'll be out in 308.
Oh, that is awesome. That's awesome.
Truth be told, I need to get some windshield time. I've been too much start and stop driving for a while, so I got to get out and settle the brain down. But yeah, so I'll get out there. Coach, one of the coaches asked me. I said, yeah. I said, I'll do it. No problem. So yeah, we're going to head out there and stay the night. And I'm guessing we probably fall into a couple cocktails and get my liver ready for a couple weeks later when we go to Chicago.
Perfect. Hey, good luck tonight. Safe travels out to Holdridge. That's a good honor. That's a smart move by the 8-man group to have you come out and speak.
All right, boys.
Hey, thanks, Verse.
Verse.
You can follow Matty V on Twitter at Verse51. There you go. Let's put that on the board. The day before Thanksgiving. You hate the in-laws. Everybody's back from college. They want to see each other. Place is packed.
It might have been the most fun I had.
I think it's just more the reunion of being away from your friends for a semester.
Yeah.
And you're not, semester, I guess, is not technically over with. But yeah, when you come back and everybody from every different state or different parts of the state are converging on one bar. I remember when I was living in Columbus, little Glur's bar, one of the oldest taverns in all of the country too. That was the spot. And yeah, wow, it was crazy. Like I had to kind of get out of there because, I wasn't from Columbus. I had to kind of get out of there because it just got overrun with all of the college kids that were coming back. And I mean, yeah, I remember going to several of them, and it really had nothing to do with the in-laws or, the family in town or anything like that. It just, hey, you knew, oh, so-and-so's in town. May not get a chance to see him until, Christmas. So I'll go see him. Or, oh my gosh, we're going to get the old group back together. And everybody has that same idea. And regardless of what time you're going to eat the next day, it doesn't seem to matter. Really doesn't. And it never really ruined my Thanksgiving dinner the next day either. So
you can nap during the Lions game most years.
Absolutely. Good naps.
Chris wants to know in the Equitable Bank inbox, does Vers have a corned beef and cabbage pizza? Thank God, no.
Yeah, and see, some people have tried that. I've seen that, and I don't know how popular that would be.
In Kansas City has done it, and I'm a hard no.
Well, if you're into that, why wouldn't you just get corned beef and cabbage?
Exactly.
Why do you need it on a pizza? Why do you want to do that to a pizza? To me, just you're overthinking it. Just get the corned beef and cabbage and call yourself a true Irishman.
I think it'd be a disgrace to pizza.
I agree. I think that would be hot garbage on pizza.
Yeah. I got Bailey's French toast waiting for me, and maybe a little shamrock pancake.
Yeah. Good luck for your travels. Have that. And, what a day. That's a good way to start the day right there.
Weather's good. I'm traveling across I-80. We get out the way. I bet I could make it through Des Moines today, and I'm going to say about a 140.
Nice.
Wait, it's that close? Oh, now I'm really tempted. Well,
yeah.
I've gone to Des Moines many times, but not from here.
If
I've gone to Des Moines from
very
Kansas
little
City.
resistance, you can hit that under 2 hours.
Oh,
sure.
Now I'm really tempted to do this tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, boom. Traffic moves pretty quick. Now, the drive over to Des Moines, much better than the drive back. Drive back seems like it's longer.
It does.
Driving over there is, I can do from my house, getting on the interstate and to kind of the Urbandale, West Des Moines-ish, which is on the outskirts of Des Moines. I can do it about 140, 145.
That's impressive, but I do feel that that's doable. Usually our first stop in Des Moines when we're either passing through on the way to Chicago or not is we got to go to Pancheros. So we go over by the, what's the place by? It's by Giordano's. I'm trying to remember that little area.
By my water tower?
Is that what it is?
The Urbandale water tower?
No, it's not in Urbandale. This would be.
Well, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, sorry.
Only thing that matters is Urbandale.
Urbandale?
No.
You guys call it the U?
Never.
No, okay.
UHS.
Oh, okay.
Big UHS fans.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Herbs. I don't know.
Nope, never called it Herbs.
Okay.
No. People probably had names for us. We were the suburban kids. And we were usually pretty good.
Yeah.
In sports. And other things. Like in one-act plays, I was really good.
Really? One-act play?
Yeah. Hey, state speech contest.
Nailed it?
I came over to Council Bluffs, won the state speech contest.
Boom.
Whew. That kid from Osceola, I stepped on his throat. Okay? He tried to pull off something, and he wasn't messing with the Sharpie.
What was the context of your speech? Can you remember?
I have no idea, but I nailed it.
You were prepared.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Bob Prigge was the speech teacher at Urbandale. And we were ready to go.
Machine?
Yeah. No, I was in the plays too. I acted.
Really?
Yeah, I was in South Pacific. I was in Diary of Anne Frank. Yeah, well, you guys just don't think I'm like just a sports guy.
So you're like a thespian too.
Yeah, so a little bit of, I mean, we're way past this, and she probably is
Pull up a
married.
chair.
She's probably married and has had like 12 kids.
Sit around, folks.
The only reason I went out for Diary of Anne Frank because I knew who was one of the leads.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to go out with her.
And so I tried out.
I like that.
Just thinking that might be the best way because she completely ignored me.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? If I try out and I get the part, we're going to spend a lot of time together.
Yeah.
Boom. We were the married couple.
So you guys were.
This is like Teen Wolf.
Hey,
You were
dressed from head to toe. We laid in the same bed.
Whoa.
Yes.
And you guys were Hayden and Frank. You were the couple.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a big role.
That was a big role.
So did it work, though?
Hell no.
Oh.
Her name was Sean. Should have known that. You know what? I have a couple of rules in life that I follow to this day and have actually suited me well. Never trust anybody that has a first name for their first and last name.
Yeah.
And never trust a girl that's named Sean.
Okay.
Because it's a guy's name.
Well, yeah. I've never heard a Sean.
Her name was Sean.
I've never heard of
Sean Young played Ray Finkel in Ace Ventura, so this checks out.
You just follow some of the rules I have in life. Like some are bangers, some are not. Boom, you're good. You live a
Literally.
nice, long, happy life. But
Tr-
I went out for the play. Oh, yeah, I was in a couple of plays. I was in the state speech contest because probably Bob Prigge was the speech teacher at Urbandale, and he also was kind of oversaw the theatrical department.
Yeah.
And I really liked him. I mean, he's a huge part of my career in letting me, when I tell people that they go, hey, what do you want to do for a living? And I immediately say, I want to be in radio. He's like, okay, let's help you get there. But yeah, so that's probably why I went out. And besides wanting to.
So besides your interest in Sean.
It was Sean Hahn was her name.
Sean Hahn?
Sean Hahn.
Sean Hahn. That's awesome. Okay, so did that
Her
open?
brother hated me.
So you think that played a role in why?
He's like 2 years older than me. He absolutely hated me. It's probably because I beat him out for a spot on the football team, but that's okay.
But you didn't beat him out in that role because then it'd have been brother sister in that role. That'd been weird.
Yeah, I don't. That's also on my list of things to live a long and happy life. Incest, not good.
I hope you didn't have to say that, and now people are using that as a pearl.
The word the incest?
Yeah, I'd like to think the majority of humans understand the downfall of such a thing.
Whatever you do, do it to your best. Just not for me. I don't have anything wrong with it. Just not for me. All right, 40 past the hour. We have some final thoughts when we return. Good show today. If you missed our interview with Sam Griesel, thank God we had him on before I just mentioned incest.
Yeah. Go listen to this and just kind of cleanse your spirit.
But do anything at your best. I mean, that's an important follow-up there. Anything we're doing right.
Exactly.
I mean, we all have like fetishes. We all have like wants and needs.
That was an ask us anything.
Yeah, no.
You know what? We're all out there. We're just trying to survive day to day. And however it gets you through the day.
You do you, boo.
Yeah. If you want to do yourself, do yourself. That's fine. Okay? Whatever makes you happy. That's all we want is we want everybody to love everybody and everybody to be happy.
Just if I can encourage you to stay outside the family gene pool. If there's something that I can provide today.
By the way, I am vibing with people that are saying that people are like gearing up in this town for the afternoon for basketball and St. Patty's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Traffic is super light today. What's going on today? Like here on Dodge Street.
So this is what it was like.
Yeah, there's very little traffic.
Yeah.
Normally 941, it's wall to wall.
Yeah.
Our traffic guy, of course, is already gone for the day. But yeah, traffic's pretty light.
The
today.
hammer of Thor is about to be dropped in Omaha. Get ready.
All right. Good luck to everybody out there. That's the second time this week I've referenced Hill Street Blues. All right. We'll give some final thoughts and we'll lead you up to basketball, the hour-long pregame show on Westwood 1. And then wraparound coverage. We'll have pregame at 1 for Creighton and North Carolina State here on the Zone. 3 is tip. And then the postgame. Well, we got the Creighton game on the Zone and the keg. The rest of the tournament will still be going on 1180. Yeah,
Creighton women's hoops.
Hey, have fun, Cynthia, taking those calls from people that still listen to Jim Rome.
Why?
What is this garbage on the radio? I'm here to bang my monkey.
I got to take.
That's what Cynthia's going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been advised. All right. We're back to put a wrap on a week's worth of shows on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
You can find pizza anywhere. But when you want pizza pie, piled pie with more toppings, that's when you come to my place, Godfather's Pizza. For a limited time, get your hands on 2 of my large one-topping pizzas. Pick pepperoni, beef, black olives, you choose. All this food for only $29. Feed your whole mob without breaking the bank. Hey, it's an offer you can't refuse. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
The Blue Jay Zone is brought to you by Barry Law. We're in it to win it. For the third time since 2011, both Creighton men's and women's basketball teams made the NCAA tournament in the same season back-to-back years. It's a feat just 11 other schools can claim this season, with such notables as Arizona, Baylor, Gonzaga, Texas, and UCLA also on the list. For the Creighton women, the 6th seed in South Bend is the best in program history. Listen for coverage of both Creighton men's and women's basketball in the NCAA tournament on 1620 The Zone and 1180 The Zone.
Winning comes without a guarantee. Focus, discipline, and extraordinary effort make winning more likely. Sometimes our greatest wins come from major setbacks. Coming back from a serious injury is a win that requires teamwork. At Barry Law, we're in it to win it.
If you have been seriously injured in an accident, call Barry Law today. 402-999-7777.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Do you like to shoot fireworks? Would you like to get paid to shoot fireworks? J&M Displays wants you. Help shoot an Omaha Storm Chasers game, Memorial Park display, or any of the major shows in Western Iowa and all of Nebraska. If you like to travel, J&M covers Nebraska, Kansas, and most of Missouri. They offer free training and great daily pay rates, which makes it a perfect part-time job. Visit jnmdisplays.com and click the Join Our Team tab to find out more. J&M Fireworks.
Hey, it's Happer for the FanDuel Sportsbook, and it is March, and we have brackets in hand, and it's time to fill them out. And while you're at it filling out the brackets, might as well throw a couple bets down as well with the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, all customers can get up to $25 back each day if your parlay of 3 legs or more falls 1 leg short. So now's the time to maybe go out on a limb. Maybe you like a 12 or a 13 or even higher. Throw them in the parlay, boost those odds, and if it falls 1 leg short, then you get your money back up to $25. And with cash out, you're calling the shots as well. You can close out your bet whenever you want before the game is over. Just sign into your FanDuel Sportsbook account or go to FanDuel.com/Happer to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com/Happer. Make every moment more. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. 21 and over, present in Iowa. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus bet $25 per day unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
College basketball is in full swing and gearing up for the college basketball tournament. Watch it all season long at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill. Of course, Oscar's serves great pizza, but don't forget about their award-winning charred buff wings or even their delicious fish and chips. Perfect for Friday nights. Dine in or carry out at 173rd and West Center. Carry out at 162nd and Maple, and order online at oscarsomaha.com.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Yeah, not feeling this one.
It gets going.
Do we get a little bagpipes? I'm kind of upset that we didn't play the Killigans. No, I'm not.
Come running, boys.
Yeah.
Can you hear the noise?
Yeah, I'd have gotten in trouble at home that I played that.
There's a good Dropkick Murphy song, but it probably wouldn't have been appropriate for the airwaves. It's called "Kiss Me, I'm Blank Faced."
Oh, yes, I
Yeah.
did see that. I
Yeah.
was like, well,
That's
is there a
yeah.
way? No.
It's a very funny song, but
Quit while you're
unfortunately,
ahead.
they say some words that are gonna be
Seems
known as
unfortunate. Blank face? That's it, guys. Is that racist?
No, not that. Kiss me.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Like many people,
Gotcha.
the
Crap.
people that Verse saw at 3:30 are probably
Yes.
already that.
Well, not the opposite, but the safe word would be crap. Yeah.
Why can't you play the Killigans? I'd sing along. Come
Would you?
running, boys. Don't you hear that noise?
Do you get excited?
Like the thunder in the sky.
Do you get excited when you hear that?
Yeah. And look what happens in the second quarter. Stats don't lie.
It's true.
To wrap up this week, by the way, welcome to Omaha, Drew Brees.
Huh?
Drew Brees is Omaha.
For what?
Drew Brees is bringing his sports restaurant, Walk-Ons, to Omaha.
Oh, I thought you meant like he's literally like he just touched down at Eppley.
No,
They sponsor the Independence Bowl.
Yes.
They are going to open a Walk-Ons, which I've been to. I went to it when we were down for Omaha basketball against Mississippi State. We went the night before to Walk-Ons.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's a really good sports restaurant. They're going to open it up out in the outlets. Out in Gretna.
Nice. Okay.
So Drew, you're going to start to see. You know, Drew Brees was here for a Boys Town banquet when he was still playing. You're going to see Drew Brees a little bit in Omaha when they get close to opening that up.
How amazing is it going to be to have on your way to a Husker game, if you're in Omaha, to pass by the outlets and see a restaurant called Walk-Ons? Oh my goodness. Could not be any more perfect.
For Nebraska and the Scarlet, for Nebraska and the Cream.
And the Walk-Ons. Oh my God. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
All right. Basketball today, you might be watching on YouTube. The golden age of cord cutting is gone because YouTube is increasing their price. Well, they still don't. They can give me the quad box, but give me some MLB TV.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Well, they got to increase it because you got NFL coming.
So 2017, if you were first in on YouTube TV, you got it for about $35.
Mm-hmm.
6 years later, 108% increase.
Oh my!
If you have YouTube TV, I noticed this because I have YouTube TV in the office.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed this morning when I turned it on the main screen, it's got the announcement of the price increase before you get into watching.
I missed that this morning.
Yeah.
I didn't see that because we have YouTube as well. We went from Hulu to YouTube.
In some cases, YouTube TV is more expensive than regular cable. How about that?
We have Hulu, and it's getting close.
The golden age
of
of cord cutting is about over, boys and girls.
Yeah.
We
got you.
I've given my thoughts on what I think will happen today in Denver. Again, I have Creighton going to the Sweet 16, but be careful, everybody. You Baylor as well. Just because 2 and 4 out, don't all of a sudden touch the money. Okay, this is why we call it March Madness. You don't think that there'll be upsets on day number 2? I'm forewarning you.
I like Creighton as well, but I'm kind of with Joel. I have Baylor pulling off that victory in the round of 32. But from an entertainment standpoint today, and I'm really looking forward to Drake Miami. I don't love that Drake got that draw, but Miami's injury situation, and I know Lee said that he feels that they should be good today. That one I think is. I'm hoping it provides like Auburn Iowa did. I honestly thought maybe it was because of the comeback. I don't know. I just thought that was probably one of the more higher quality games that we saw yesterday.
And I struggled with that game because of the female PA announcer.
Yeah,
very unique.
Yes,
and good because we do need more females as public address announcers. Either they had the PA turned way up.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
She was. That voice was pretty distinctive the entire game.
Yep. I think you're right too. I think they had that amplified.
Listening on the radio driving home, it was piercing through my
it was amped up
car speakers. I was like, okay.
Would agree.
I had a full disclosure. I had this in my bracket, And when we heard about the comments that the NC State players made, I said, well, that might change things, but I have it in my bracket, so I stick by it. I think NC State wins today. Oh, yeah. I'm going there.
Okay.
All right. So 2 for Creighton, 1 for NC State. Because we're the home of the Jays. Jimmy, you might not be back here on Monday if they lose. That's how it
Fair
works.
enough.
That's how it works when you work at a station that is the, the flagship for a university.
Hey, I'll balance it out. I have
Or maybe I only know that from Nebraska.
I have the Fighting Flans getting out of the weekend.
Nice. That's good.
I really do. I'm not just saying that.
I'm trying to remember what you guys remember this yesterday when he made reference to North Chadomir for Miami. Did he say he thought from his intel that he would play?
Yeah, I think he is playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep your eye on that one.
Well, magical day yesterday. No one is safe. Just remember that. No one is safe.
Trust no one.
I could say that every day. No one is safe.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've given a lot of fatherly advice.
You
this
have.
week.
I agree. And on the right day where people are en route or already there to
people need
enjoy
that today.
shenanigans.
People need that today.
Chris says, my thing about Sean, a girl named Sean.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. He said, what about Kelly, Peyton, Parker, Jamie, Jordan, Morgan? There's exceptions. That's all I'm going to say. There are exceptions.
Sean. Wow. Yep. Didn't know. Never heard of a Sean.
All right. Enjoy basketball, everybody. Again, we hope you had a good time with us the entire week. Great interview with Sammy G, Sam Griesel. It is up on the replay page. Listen to it, share it, whatever you're doing this weekend. Make sure that you listen to it. That was a great, great, fun interview. For Jimmy, for Nick, I'm Gary. Westwood 1, hour-long pregame ahead of the start of day 2 of March Madness. And don't forget Creighton at 3. We'll talk to you on Monday at 6.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 6